If you're listening in the future, this is known as the pre-show, which is called me sitting here waiting for my co-host to arrive and doing nothing.
You cooking up here?
No.
Okay. Where's my notebook?
Your notebook.
I had a notebook up here. This has all my notes on it. What is that thing?
Jeez.
Your little one for basketball? No, I brought it up here last week when we were going to do it. And put it. Okay, where did I put all of those? Put it in here. Table, and I put it over on, like over here
Put it over here.
or something, if I recall right.
That one? Yes.
Under Jerry Rice. Okay. I would never looked under Jerry Rice, probably. Okay. Where's me a pen?
You want red or black?
I got one.
Nope, I don't need that.
Okay. Here you go.
Oh, I got it here.
Oh. Oh, man, take notes.
Right. That was an exciting pre-show.
Okay.
As every show's pre-show is. So, if I get my ice down here.
Okay. What kind of ice? Cold
Frozen.
ice? Oh, okay.
Ah. You ready to begin?
Sure.
All right. All right. So, welcome here to our NFL regular season recap. Only about a week late, but you know, late's better than nothing. So, to begin, we'll do a quick standings recap, I guess.
Okay.
So, we shall start in the AFC. We shall start in the East, then go, well, we'll tell you when we get there. So, in the East.
In the East.
So, your division winner, New England Patriots, to no one's surprise.
No, nobody's surprised.
Then the Jets came second somehow, amazingly enough.
Almost made the playoffs.
Then Buffalo and Miami closing at the bottom.
Not surprisingly.
No. Anything we want to talk about in that division? Right now.
Nah, just
No.
the most surprising thing was probably the Jets.
Jets being
10-6.
competent.
Yes.
Okay. On to the AFC North. Division winner, Cincinnati, again. Then Pittsburgh. Then Baltimore, Cleveland.
Okay.
Anything you would like to discuss there?
I think that's pretty much how it was supposed to come out.
Maybe not quite 5-11 Baltimore.
Maybe
team,
Baltimore
but
quite not that bad, but they did have quite a few injuries.
yes, that we'll get to that later.
And that does affect that team big time. I think I had Cleveland being a little better than 3-13 at the start of the year. Surprisingly, they're bad again, but I really thought they might be improved more than 3-13. But there's Cleveland for you.
Now on to the strongest AFC division, the South.
Yes.
The division winner of Houston,
Houston.
followed by Indy, Jacksonville, and Tennessee.
Yes. It's probably kind of surprising.
Well,
Jacksonville winning 5 games, and they actually looked kind of competent in many games.
yes.
Indianapolis 8-8. Okay. It's probably your surprise of the AFC. Many people picked them to be Super Bowl contenders.
Uh-huh.
And they looked.
They didn't look right.
They looked lost this year.
Yeah.
I mean, the one play we can all point out is their fake field goal or punt.
The fake punt in the New England game, I think it was.
Was the worst play in 40 years. The worst designed to play.
Probably.
Worst executed play.
I don't know about that one.
But they did have their share of injuries.
Yes.
But they still should have won more than 8-8. Even when Andrew Luck was in there, they looked terrible.
Yeah.
So I say the Colts are the biggest surprise in that division.
We'll get back to them in a second because
Okay.
I have a little theory that you might not like too greatly, but
Okay.
we'll see. On to the AFC West. Denver
Okay.
held on.
Held
the division.
on. Yes.
Then Kansas City, Oakland, and San Diego in last
Yes.
in a terrific season. Terrific season.
San Diego looked like they hung it up at half season, gave it up.
Well, let's see. At that point, the receiving core was down to what? Gates and the punter? Or
I mean,
was that? No, that was like the last week. It was Gates and the punter was the receiving core, I think.
they had a few
It
injuries,
was
but
quite
no reason for them
sad,
nailing
man.
in that early in the year. But
Well-
they did. Oakland actually looked competent.
Well, yeah, that happens when you have three solid to great players on offense. Arguably the three most important non-line positions.
You know, finishing 7-9. I think Oakland's future looks kind of bright.
Uh-huh.
Actually, most of the teams in that division there really did surprise people. I mean, Kansas City may not have surprised people finishing 11-5, but they started out 1-5. You lose your number one running back.
Yeah.
And
And you throw in Alex Smith as your quarterback, which is usually not
I mean, that's,
code for we're going to rip off 10 straight wins.
no. And then you rip off 10 in a row.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of surprising.
Little.
Denver, honestly, I don't know how they're 12-4.
Same way Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl.
I mean, 12-4. They did not look like a 12-4 team. So,
Same way Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl.
So the AFC has a lot of questions going into the playoffs.
Same way Troy Aikman won like 3 Super Bowls. So,
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
On to the NFC.
NFC, where things were more normal, I think.
Not really. We'll begin in the East again.
We'll begin in the East, where it's pretty normal.
Sure. Your division winner, Washington,
Washington. Oh, that's pretty normal.
followed by Philly, the Giants, and then Dallas.
Yes. That is kind of topsy-turvy. Washington, who started out kind of bad. Everyone wanted Kirk Cousins not to be the quarterback at the start of the year when they started out like 1-3 or something.
Uh-huh.
They, Gruden stuck with it. Stuck with Cousins, and he turned out to be had a decent season.
Yeah,
The Eagles self-imploded.
more or less.
I mean, the Giants did not look good all year, and Dallas was horrendously hit with injuries also, but
Well, not really.
they also looked terrible all year.
Down. On to the North.
Okay? Another surprise.
Division winner, Minnesota,
Yes.
followed by a suddenly offensively incompetent Green Bay team.
Yes.
Then Detroit and the football team that plays in Chicago.
Yes.
Whatever. The
Obviously,
Chicago team.
most people probably had Green Bay winning that. And even though they lost Jordy Nelson at the start of the year, they looked good the first half of the year or so.
I'm still not sure what. Well, I know what happened there, but
And then all of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers turned into a different Aaron Rodgers, and he looked normal the rest of the year. He did not look like superhuman Aaron Rodgers.
no.
And I'm not sure what happened there. Minnesota, I don't know how they came out and won 11 games, but they did. And that one, Detroit and Chicago are about where most people would have thought they would be.
Mm-hmm.
So
Down to the South.
the South.
Yeah, your league leading and probably not Super Bowl winning. We'll see. Carolina winning the division with that one lone loss
One loss.
to Atlanta, who came in second.
It was 8-8.
Then New Orleans and Tampa.
Okay. Most of that division's where the standings are where they should be. But who would have thought Carolina would finish 15-1
Mm-hmm.
with their lone loss like in week 15, week 16
Yeah.
to Atlanta?
Mm-hmm.
And I know, going way back to our pre-season show,
Uh-huh.
when Carolina lost Benjamin,
Right.
their number one wide receiver in preseason, we were like, what's Carolina going to do now?
Uh-huh.
I mean, they're not. And then they reel off a 15-1 season,
Uh-huh.
and they do have a very, very hard road to the Super Bowl, that's for sure.
Well, yeah.
Most people I've read that, this is the worst. I mean, when they were like 13-0, this is the worst 13-0 team ever. Oh, this is the worst 14-0 team ever. I'm sure this is the worst 15-1 team ever. But somehow they go out and they keep winning. So
Uh-huh.
surprises me.
To the West, where we have Arizona winning the division handily.
Yes.
Then Seattle, St. Louis, San Fran.
And this
So-
division ended up probably like most everyone had predicted. So,
Maybe.
I mean, Seattle may be a little, their record may be a little worse than people might have thought. And St. Louis may be a little worse than people thought. But
Yeah, I mean, if I recall our preseason show, basically if you put Arizona down in third and move Seattle, St. Louis up, that's
Up
what I was expecting,
okay,
with St. Louis in
in second.
the wild card spot, basically then.
So possibly, yeah.
But,
But Arizona is a good team. So it doesn't
Yes.
surprise me they were finished 13-3.
yeah.
Their defense keeps them in most games. And Seattle started the year really horrible. And then they came on and they're Seattle now.
Mm-hmm.
Back to Seattle. Those 6 losses, if I recall right, they actually led in most of those games. Like sometime in the fourth quarter, they were leading actually in most of those 6 losses. So,
Okay.
okay, that's a good recap of the final standings.
Sure. So, now I guess very brief things about each team, why don't we?
Okay.
So we'll just stick there where we were in the NFC West. Let's start at the bottom, San Fran.
Okay.
I mean, the defense is kind of not good. The offense is relatively horrible. Kaepernick is
Well, when you
Dead in
bench
the water.
him, you bench Kaepernick for who?
for Blaine Gabbert, who actually looked somewhat competent.
I mean, what
Not
does that
enough
say?
I'd want to keep him permanent starter, but,
Probably not, but what does that say about Kaepernick's career now?
We'll see him in Chip Kelly's team next year.
I mean, when you get benched for Blaine Gabbert,
we'll see him on Chip Kelly's team next year, I believe that's what that means.
I think the biggest thing,
what that means.
I mean, we know the 49ers were imploding last year.
Yes.
And then Harbaugh left.
Mm-hmm.
We knew San Francisco was going to stink. I didn't think, I would never, ever, ever in a billion years thought Kaepernick would be benched for Gabbert.
Well.
And, maybe one game, at the end of the game, sure.
Uh-huh.
But he was benched and then for the rest of the season.
Uh-huh.
I would never, ever have guessed that.
Well, I must say, for Niners fans who listen, which is, 0 people, like total people that listen here, you're probably going to get treated now for a few years to basically the Alex Smith, Frank Gore team again.
Okay.
Maybe. Which is going to be, you may have 1 or 2 good to great players, and then the rest of the team is horrible.
Yes.
So I think you're going to be stuck in that for
a while.
A while now.
Yes.
So, where you got the players where you're good enough to not get like a top 5 pick, so you don't usually get high impact franchise turning around players
right
outside of the top 5 typically. So you're going to be kind of stuck in that revolving, just mediocre state.
Correct. And they are stuck in
For a
a
while.
very good NFC West division. So
That too.
that's going to hurt them.
Yeah. Because now you get to wait out Seattle for
Couple
maybe
years
10
anyway.
years at this point.
Yes.
And Arizona for probably, 3, 4 maybe?
3, 4, 5.
2, you have to wait them out.
Uh-huh.
So, San Fran's kind of stuck. Now,
Yes.
St. Louis, here's the problem for St. Louis.
St. Louis.
They have a phenomenal defense.
Okay.
Phenomenal running game.
Okay.
Quarterbacking is not good by any measure. Foles is not good.
Foles needs to be replaced.
Yes.
Bring
and
in
then
Blaine Gabbert.
No. And then the replacement for Foles, it was Case Keenum. Not good either, as we knew from the Houston stint.
No, that they need a rookie.
Yeah, but here's the
can
thing.
Develop.
Here's the problem with that, though. Their defense is good enough, and their running game is good enough, that it's going to get them to 7 or 8 wins most years.
Yes.
And plus, you have Jeff Fisher, so that's kind of his thing, too.
Right.
So, you're kind of stuck in that spot, too.
I think they draft someone good, or a free agent comes in and not giving anything away probably, but this move that they're going to do to LA may bring them better free agents too.
Okay. I mean, if you're searching the free agent quarterback pool,
yes.
I mean, that's not a high quality pool typically.
Not usually, but it could be.
I mean, you're talking what, the RG3s and Kaepernick and whatnot
Well,
out there that are known commodities that are known to not be that great.
Well, yeah, you're
More
probably going to get
often.
a top 5 quarterback. That
Though
way.
here's the thing, though, for St. Louis, though. Here's a theory. If San Fran lets him go or is going to give him to you for basically nothing, take a flyer on Kaepernick.
Yes, I would.
Because here's the thing. He kind of got within like 10 yards of a Super Bowl title.
Uh-huh.
Because of a great defense.
Yes.
So if you're St. Louis and you're pretty close to having a great defense, take a flyer on him.
Take a flyer.
And maybe he can replicate that again. Maybe not. Maybe his legs and arm are shot. I don't know.
Well,
I would hope not.
If his legs are shot, his career's over.
Yes. If it's degraded to current Michael Vick status, then yeah, that part of his career is over.
He's not going to live on his arm, so.
No.
Okay, so go take a flyer on someone like that.
Yeah, if you can't, take a flyer on him if you can. And yeah, if you move to LA, maybe then a quarterback, you're going to love this here, maybe a quarterback who's not technically signed by his current team and may, after this last season, not want to be there anymore.
Okay.
Who becomes a free agent, might find, ooh, LA is attractive.
LA's more attractive than St. Louis
Yes.
to some people.
Yes.
So.
Do you think Andrew Luck would want to do that? Do you think he would tell the Colts, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to go play in LA?
He certainly
Because I like the weather a lot more than here in Indy, which is not terribly fun weather.
But I thought Luck had signed an extension, so.
Not yet, actually. So.
Oh, really? I thought he did.
No.
Okay.
Not actually yet.
Well, he can't really sign one yet.
Right, till the next league year starts, then he can.
But I think it's all in the works. I think he's staying with the Colts, so.
Well,
now
that might look attractive to him.
But now he might go, ooh, LA?
Yeah.
Let's see, where'd I go to college?
Stanford. Which is around the area.
Maybe.
See? I don't know. I doubt he would do it, but
Will
you never know.
Will the Rams sign my ex-college coach who the Colts let go this year?
If he asks for it, they might.
So you never know, yes.
But anyway.
Could happen.
Seattle. I mean, this team's great all around, though. I mean, there's not a lot.
All around.
The one issue is the running game right now.
Right now they're on their third running back.
Right, which is more so just an injury thing. So.
Right, which is injury. Lynch may not play.
Well, here's the thing: is Lynch even that good anymore, though?
I don't know if he could do beast mode again, but he probably could one or two plays a game.
He's not just going to consistently run through people every single carry.
No,
probably.
And Seattle's not as dominating, I don't think, as they were in the last 2 years.
In what aspect?
In
on the ground?
Entire game.
Really?
They haven't been, just victory-wise, I mean, they haven't been dominating their opponents like they did the last 2 years, yes.
Really?
Well, they're 10-6, so yeah.
Did you not watch that Minnesota game? The non-playoff one? Did you not watch the Arizona game in Week 17?
Yeah, Arizona had nothing to play for.
Well, that too.
So that one I don't really count.
Okay, but this is a team that...
They're not as dominating.
They're still very dominant, though.
So...
They're very dominant.
They're going to be a tough playoff team.
Defense has come around greatly. Russell Wilson is probably the hottest quarterback in the league right now.
Defense, Wilson, yes, but they're just not as dominating as they've been the last 2 years.
Okay,
It still would not surprise me if they made their third straight Super Bowl.
Right.
So if they make it, it wouldn't surprise me. If they goofed up in the playoffs, it wouldn't surprise me either.
Sure.
Either way at this point.
Arizona
had a good season.
Yes. Now, I mean, there's not anything about this Arizona team that to me seems absurdly unsustainable.
No.
Except maybe Larry Fitzgerald's production. That'd be about it that I could see being absurdly unsustainable.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, he's like 34 or something.
He had his career year practically.
Yeah. But other than that, this team, I mean, maybe Carson Palmer staying healthy a whole season, maybe.
Maybe.
But
I mean, Arizona has a good chance to make the Super Bowl.
yeah.
They're good all around.
Mm-hmm.
They do everything, fairly well.
Mm-hmm.
So with their defense, they'll be in most games.
And then the offense just throttles people anyway.
And then the offense
Throttles you. They don't even really need to have a dominant defense because that offense can throttle you on its own.
They got a rookie running back that
Was
really
really good.
came out of somewhere. What did he surprise people this year? Maybe. The rebirth of Larry Fitzgerald this year.
Chris Johnson was good
Johnson, when he was
a while.
in. I mean, yeah, this team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could surprise. I mean, making the Super Bowl wouldn't surprise me, or laying a big goose egg on their first week of playing wouldn't surprise me. Arizona's not been known to be a playoff team lately.
Sure.
A good playoff team.
That's what happens when you're on your third string quarterback in
Last year,
Carolina.
yes. Well, yes, that does happen. So
That's what happens when you're on your third string quarterback in Carolina. It doesn't go very well.
Palmer has to stay healthy.
Yes. On to the South.
Okay.
Tampa.
Tampa actually won 6 games this year. So
Yes. They need a number 2 wideout. That's really it for them.
Okay. And
That's really all they need. That and apparently a sensible owner.
they're going to get a new coach.
Yeah. Which I don't understand. Why fire Lovey at this point? He's got the defense coming around. You spent last season with the combination of Mike Glennon and Josh McCown last year.
I mean, yeah, I don't
So
know.
that wasn't expected to go anywhere, I would assume.
The days where a coach can win 6 games and expect to come back the next season, they're gone. When you win 6 games, apparently they want you to be in the playoffs in your second year of coaching, which,
I guess that's just in Tampa, huh?
yeah, which says they want to win.
Uh-huh.
They have spent a lot of money in the free agent market the last 5-6 years,
Sure.
but
But now you finally have what looks to be a franchise quarterback at this point.
yes,
And
that's
you
no
have
doubt.
a very good number 1 wideout.
Yes,
Then your current number 2 is on the tail end of his career to the point of not really being useful. So, I mean, you need a solid 2 receiver, and then this team is set.
I think a new
For a
coach
while.
is going to be happy
Yeah,
because, I get to come in and I look like a genius.
I know. I mean, this is going to be this could basically be like the NFL equivalent of Steve Kerr walking into the Warriors job.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Which is just, yeah, the pieces are all there. I just have to come in and talk to them about a few things, and then, we rip off 67 wins.
I may have to tweak them
You know?
a little, but yes, it could be.
Sure. Chip
Definitely.
Kelly waltzes in, hypothetically, and just says,
Yes.
we're going to move faster. And then, okay. And then they can rip off 12 wins next
It
year.
could, easily.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Anyway, New Orleans is a lot better than I would have anticipated them being this year. They were. That defense is horrible.
Their defense horrible. They got rid of Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I know you complain about the Colts defense every other play practically.
Yes.
Their defense is really good compared to the Saints defense.
When you watch the Saints, yes. Now
I mean,
you
the
know why
Saints
Breeze has to.
defense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
why Breeze has to.
yes, why he puts up 5,000 yards a year practically.
He has to.
Otherwise,
Exactly.
they're going to win 3 games. Otherwise, they'll win 2 or 3 games and
New
not
Orleans
7.
needs to work on their defense. So
Yes, they need defense. Breeze, regardless of what he says, is getting towards the end of his career.
yes,
And so you need to start looking
yes,
for your successor,
yes.
whether that be through a trade for someone, free agent market, draft, whatever it may be.
Yeah, they need to groom
You
their.
got to start working on that one.
Yes,
It's not quite as much of a pressing need for them as some other teams,
right.
but it's a need soon.
Yes, but they also need to work on that defense.
That too. Atlanta.
Atlanta. I really don't have much to say about Atlanta. Finishing 8-8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they're just a normal team to me.
Now here's the problem. Here's the thing with Atlanta. They basically did the normal Kyle Shanahan offense team thing, which is start off insanely hot, start off really, really good, and then die.
Yes.
That's what Kyle Shanahan offenses have done, and that's what they did here, even though he has arguably one of the 3 best receivers in the league and probably one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the league
Right.
coming
Maybe
into this season, maybe.
close to the top 10, sure. And they started out 6-1.
Mm-hmm. Then you go 2-7.
2-7 to finish.
Yeah.
And
With one of the wins being the Carolina one, but still.
Right.
And
many of us, a lot of people, well, they started out 6-1. Did they beat anyone good? Well, they beat Washington. They beat Houston, so they beat 2 conference winners, or division winners.
Yeah, the 2 worst ones, kind of.
The 2 worst, but still, that's 2 conference winners. But they did beat the teams they should have beat, like Tennessee, Dallas, Giants, and Philly.
Mm-hmm.
The Philly one might have been a surprise that they won that one, but then the last, when they were 2-7.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to Tampa twice. They lost to the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
The last week of the year, they lost to New Orleans.
This is a very soft schedule that they went 8-8 through.
And they seemed to mail it in after their 6-1 start, which really is surprising. You start 6-1.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. Maybe what Kyle Shanahan needs to do is after your 8th game, so after you're halfway through the season, right? Just tell the players and tell yourself, we're going to start over again. And maybe that'll work.
Maybe.
Because this is what his teams have always done, which is murder through the first half and then just die. So maybe you need to, at, week 8 or 9, depending on when the bye is for you,
just
say, okay, that was our first season. We're going to start the 2nd season now, and then maybe you can do that same thing again.
That could be it, yes.
Maybe that's what you need to do.
Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe they got to be too predictable, and teams on first down, they're going to do this 90% of the time.
That could be.
And if you do that,
Since
in the NFL,
since the offense was basically throw it to Julio. Throw it to Julio again. I'll throw it to Julio. That was basically the offense.
They will catch on pretty quick.
That was the offense.
Okay.
But, maybe throw something different in there every now and then. Whatever. Carolina.
Yes.
They get Kelvin Benjamin back next year, who may not be fully back. Receiver, ACL. That's not a great combo.
Right.
So we'll see, if he's back next year or not. But I mean, there isn't a lot to say about this team except
Well, I think they're surprisingly 15-1.
maybe,
I mean,
but
I'm just gonna say that's surprising. 15, I would never have guessed.
but
I mean, they did have a easy schedule.
yes, that does help.
I mean, when you play the NFC
But-
South,
Yes.
the other ones they played the AFC South,
Uh-huh.
and they played the NFC East. I mean, that's most of their games.
Uh-huh.
So pretty soft schedule.
Yeah. Which, doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt. The other
But-
2 games outside of that, they played Seattle and Green Bay.
Uh-huh.
Won both of those.
Right.
So, I mean, they had a really good year for a team that lost your number 1 receiver at the start of the year.
Right.
People are like, oh,
But-
gosh.
Nothing about what they did seems unsustainable.
No. I mean, no.
Except, Ted Ginn being
Well, being like a,
non-horrible,
yeah.
basically, is about it. Other than that, there's really nothing that seems unsustainable.
No.
So,
I mean, they could continue.
mhm.
We'll see.
To the north, Chicago.
Okay, Chicago.
They're going to have some trouble next year, I think. Next year.
Yeah.
Because technically Alshon Jeffrey could leave if he wants to,
Okay.
which then means you have no receivers. Because, we did not see Kevin White all year.
No.
So he may be good, he may be not. We have no clue. They have no clue. So then your receiving core is basically Martellus Bennett and a very old Matt Forte at that point, basically.
Okay.
That's not good. And also, you lost Adam Gase. So
Yeah.
I don't know who they're going to bring in as offensive coordinator now. But whoever it is not going to work Gase magic with Cutler.
Cutler, no.
So I would not be surprised if we see horrible Jay Cutler again next year.
Right.
And this Bears team may, win 3 games next year. I don't know. The defense looked still not good. Started to get a little better
A
towards
little
the end.
better.
John Fox is doing his thing there a little bit, but
Well, the thing about the Bears, and this is the hard thing for me to get a wrap around, is they did win 6 games.
mhm,
Okay, and you look at those 6 wins they had.
mhm,
Only one of their victories, only one victory, was by more than 5 points.
mhm.
So they could have lost 5 of those games.
Mhm.
Just a bounce going the other way or something. They beat St. Louis by 24. That was their only dominating victory of the year.
Mhm.
5 of your 6 wins you won by 5 or less points. That does not look good.
No.
And when you lost, you lost. For the most part. Some of their losses were close, but that team, they need to turn it around,
Yeah.
and I don't see them doing that.
No. Detroit.
Detroit has wasted the career of Calvin Johnson, so far.
Well, you could argue that about every player they've ever had on the team, basically.
Well, they don't always have a player their whole career like they have Calvin.
Well, but you could say it.
You could, and I don't see
okay.
Detroit.
They wasted Barry Sanders' career.
They did waste Barry Sanders' career. Yes.
They're going to waste Matt Stafford's.
And personally,
Who may actually not be good.
Personally, I think Barry Sanders would have stayed in the league and played longer if Detroit had made, playoffs, made playoff victories, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like,
Like, you know what? I'm
Nah.
not having a lot of fun making millions and losing.
And just loot. Yeah, so it's Detroit. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't. They're just.
Here's the thing.
Matthew
Yeah,
Stafford,
they finished strong, but the defense is still bad.
Their defense is
Defense is bad.
bad.
The offense really is not good.
If Johnson retires,
Even if he doesn't, what we've seen from him the past 2 years is, at best, an average receiver.
that's true.
I mean, he hasn't quite hit the Reggie Wayne from last season or the Chad Ochocinco with the Patriots
No,
level yet,
no.
but
Detroit's going to need some work.
I mean, he's basically in the Roddy White from this year and last year down in Atlanta stage of his career, which is kind of the I'm here to occupy 1 or 2 defenders and do nothing, basically.
Make money.
And that.
Okay, yeah.
And so then Stafford, from what we've seen from him in this year and last year, is when he doesn't have a super physically dominant receiver like Calvin Johnson, he's not all that good.
He's not been that good.
It's not very good.
No.
So we'll see how that goes.
I guess the most exciting thing about Detroit for me is that their owner, 90 years old, has finally decided, like, she's tired of losing or something.
Uh-huh.
She's rearranging the front office. She's, and maybe she's going to kick some energy into the team or something. Maybe. We'll see.
I doubt it.
I don't know. We'll see. If she's finally tired of losing, they got enough money.
Uh-huh.
So I'd like to see them do something.
Well, I don't see it, but you never know.
You never know.
Now, Green Bay.
Green Bay.
The big problem was Jordy Nelson's injury.
Jordy Nelson.
Because here's the thing.
And then they had other injuries.
Because here's the big thing with them. Randall Cobb is not a good number 1 receiver. He is not.
Okay.
From what we saw this year, he really should not be a number 1 wideout on any team. Unless your number 2 is like Brandon Marshall type of guy, who is still insanely good, but not quite the number 1 wideout level of just insanely dominant.
Yeah.
So, like the Brandon Marshall, Julian Edelman types, where they could be number 1 options and be solid, but work better as a 2, and Randall Cobb would work better in tandem with one of them. That's what we learned from Green Bay this year. That, and when Aaron Rodgers is getting hit every other play, he does not do too well with that.
Well, I've said that for years.
Yes.
So
here's the other thing too. That 6-0 start I think they had.
well, they lost in week. No, never mind. Yes, they were 6-0.
That 6-0 start, so you go 4-6 over your last 10.
Yes.
Here's the thing with those first 6 wins.
Yes.
A lot of those, the offense was going well.
Yes.
And why was it going well? Because a lot of it was just Aaron Rodgers doing it out of his own mind at the line was what a lot of it was. And it was a lot of Aaron Rodgers ad-libbing and running around and
Possibly,
doing the
yes.
50-yard wrist bombs
Yes.
and whatnot.
Yes.
And they looked good. Then he kind of stopped doing that for, reasons of getting pressured and for maybe other reasons that I don't know about. And then they finally got back to that, in the playoffs against Washington. And granted, yes, it was Washington. Looked really good again.
Uh-huh.
So basically, Green Bay, if they want to win a Super Bowl again, this year at least, you got to let Aaron Rodgers just run around and do his thing.
Aaron Rodgers is going to have to be Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, not Peyton Manning impressionist.
Right.
So
And that offensive line has to hold together a little.
that too. You gotta give him 4 or 5 seconds.
I mean,
You know, we don't expect you to hold him back for, 8, but 3 to 5, more than enough time for Rodgers back there.
the thing with the 3 other NFC teams that are still in it, they're all great defensive teams who can blitz.
Yeah.
So
Just knock him out.
And I mean,
The last time we saw him play Arizona in Arizona, it
was
looked
ugly.
not good for Green Bay.
And we know the NFL blitzing against Green Bay works. Some teams are going to do that.
Sometimes it doesn't.
I mean, sometimes it's not going to, obviously, but
No, I mean, here's the thing. If Rodgers can get 2 seconds back there and you leave one of the guys one-on-one, he'll probably be able to just fling it up and one of them go up and more often than not come down with it.
if your defense can blitz and your defense can do one-on-one, that's what they're going to do against Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows that it does work against them. But Green Bay, Rodgers is, I don't know if I want to say he's one of the most intelligent players or quarterbacks, but he's definitely one of the few that I see. I don't know why more don't do this, but he's got a special signal that when they're up on the line and he sees the defense running off the field, they're not all the way off. They hack it real quick. And penalty. He's got more of those than
he
any
gets
other
free
team.
plays and just bomb it downfield. Next, sometimes we get 60-yard.
I don't know if it was against Washington this last time.
He did it a couple times against them.
But one play, I mean, the defense was talking and gabbing and
just
he
snapped
hiked it and off they went. And Washington's going, what, huh? Let's run it. I mean, how many other teams have this super signal, apparently, that you snap it real quick? I don't know why teams don't have that. It seems pretty simple to me. And, I watch the Colts, and it's agonizing, oh, God, you could draw them offside. They got 4 guys running and they take their time. Ooh, yeah, let's let them get off the field. Let's be nice. Okay, play clock's down to 1. Let's hike now. It's like, gee whiz. So Green Bay could go far in the playoffs. They could lose their next game. So, and they do have to go to Arizona next. So
yeah.
Okay.
Now Minnesota.
For me,
I hate to say this because I like Teddy, but they need better quarterbacking.
He developed some this year.
I like him, but for them to go farther, they need him to get even better.
He needs to be a little better.
Which, logically, he should. Going into next year, he should.
He should get better next year, obviously.
But
he should.
I mean, obviously, you never know how it's going to actually work out and whatnot.
But here's a team I think is built on Adrian Peterson running
and the defense.
And we just asked Bridgewater, don't fumble, don't throw an interception. That's all. Just hand off to Peterson. And every now and then, do a quick screen pass or do a, run for 5 yards. But don't mess up the game.
Well, the problem then is when you get in against, a good defense like Seattle, it's not going to work too well.
It worked well. They should have won.
Well, yeah.
But it worked well enough to win. With that defense, they will be in most games.
Right. But, I mean, this is a team I don't see them. I think they could win the division again next year, depending on,
They could.
On how Jordy comes back and looks first year back. Usually, off ACL, especially for receivers,
Right.
is not very good. The first year back is kind of just a readjustment. Let me get used to running on this knee again and everything. And you're also a little leery of, I don't want to plant wrong and tear it again and
Right.
whatnot. So
I mean,
you never know how it's going to
You
work.
never know. Minnesota lost 5
So,
games this year.
That they did. And so,
And if you look at their 5
Down.
losses,
oh,
they lost to Arizona, lost to Seattle, lost to Green Bay, lost to Denver. So 4 of their 5 losses were against playoff teams.
mhm.
So they could do it next year. So, yes.
Dallas
Dallas is,
just needs to stay healthy and also get a good running game again
yeah.
and a competent defense.
I think they noticed
Giants basically just need a good defense and you're set because Eli, is Eli. And now you got, Odell and the on and offness of Ruben Randall, and maybe Victor Cruz will be back next year.
Maybe.
And maybe good.
But
we don't know yet.
Coughlin will not be back.
That is true.
So that'll be interesting to see what coach they hire.
Right.
And if a new coach can breathe new life into them.
I hope they wouldn't breathe new life into the team.
Breathe new life.
But,
Yeah. That will be
I mean,
interesting.
I'm no expert, but I don't quite
Okay.
think that's how most teams are built.
Not usually. Okay, Philly,
Philly,
who just underperformed. Once
kind
again.
of, but not really. Here's the thing with Philly. Obviously, I have not liked Sam Bradford ever. So, they're about where I thought it was going to go with Sam Bradford.
Okay.
I mean, sure, the preseason was getting me going like, oh, maybe he can be good. Oh. And then, like, week 1, it was like, okay, no, I think I'm still right. And the second half of that Atlanta game, I'm like, oh, maybe he can be good again. And the rest of the season was like, okay, no, I'm still right. All right, he's not good. Okay.
Well, I think anything else, what this year for the Eagles showed me is, and people can disagree with me all they want, but I'm going to say Chip Kelly is not a football genius. So
He is not a GM.
he's not a genius.
That's the thing.
Well,
He should not have player personnel duties.
right. He is not.
That's the thing. Because, I mean, from, like, the beginning, you see, okay, he's bringing in Sam Bradford, which is,
he thinks he's that much better than Nick Foles.
hold on, is maybe a teensy upgrade, maybe not. We don't really know. But then it's like, well, let's see. What does Sam Bradford have a lot of trouble doing besides staying healthy? Throwing the deep ball. And what is Chip Kelly's pass offense built around? Throwing the deep ball well. Does Sam Bradford do that? No. Does Foles do that? Technically, no again.
No.
So that was, this doesn't really make a lot of sense to begin with part of it.
Correct.
Then it's, okay, let's bring in DeMarco Murray. It's like, really? You have Sproles, who is great. You have Ryan Matthews, who, when healthy, is insanely good.
Good. Yeah.
So now, let's splash another $20 million and bring in DeMarco Murray, who probably is not going to be good ever again. Probably. Historically speaking, after, the volume that he had last year in Dallas,
Yeah.
he should not be very good ever again.
Right.
Historically speaking, I mean, first time for everything, but historically speaking, probably isn't going to be very good ever again.
Well, the way Chip Kelly used him, we wasn't going to be.
That too. So Philly basically, like, you bring in a competent quarterback,
Yes.
maybe slow the tempo a teensy bit, and you could have an 11-win season next year.
Uh-huh.
Easy. But we'll see what happens.
We'll see. Since they got rid of Chip Kelly.
Right.
See what
So, because, I mean, whoever their replacement is, which, there's reports, they're going to bring in Tom Coughlin. Is Coughlin any of an upgrade over Kelly? No, not really. As a coach, no. I mean, is Coughlin the coach better than Chip the coach?
I'll say yes.
See, I would say no. I'd say they're about equal, to the point where I'd probably take Chip over Coughlin.
I'll take Coughlin and 2 Super Bowl rings over Chip Kelly in his 3 failed years. Yes, any day.
Oh, okay, sure.
I will.
Okay. See, I'd rather take the 50-year-old dude who has a great offense that relatively works when he has the right personnel for it,
Well,
versus the 80-year-old dude who really only won 2 Super Bowls because Eli got insanely hot, and apparently the Patriots don't know how to beat the Giants in the playoffs.
I'll take the 2 Super Bowl rings
And also being able to catch a ball with your helmet.
and the fact that Coughlin doesn't think he's God, and I'll be the GM and the coach, and I'll be the offensive coach and I'll be the defensive coach. I'll just do everything. I don't need that ego that Chip Kelly seems to have.
Well, you see, what I would hope is from this Philly situation.
That Chip
I
Kelly
would
learn something.
That's what I would hope.
Uh,
Now, did he or will he? I don't know. That's yet to be seen.
I think he just has an overblown, or had an overblown ego. Thought, I'll come in the NFL and just wipe everyone out. Watch this new offense I put in. I'll kill it. And he didn't even make the playoffs in his 3 years.
That first season,
The first season,
he just obliterated practically everyone, though.
when he surprised people.
It was like, oh, what is this? Okay, we don't know how to play this.
After that,
But then it was almost like Kaepernick, that first
Oh.
that Niners Super Bowl run, where it's like,
yeah,
we don't know how in the heck to stop this dude. How
Dude.
do we do this? And no one could figure it out. And he runs for 200 yards on a 15-1 Packers team in Lambeau and beats
Yeah.
them, and then goes to a Super Bowl and loses to Joe Flacco and the
yes.
Ravens after an extra hour-long halftime, thanks to a great power operator. On to Washington.
Washington.
Here's the thing with Washington. Obviously, we know RG3's out of there.
Out of there.
More or less. Cousins might be following him. We don't know. Cousins is technically an unrestricted free agent after the year.
Yes, I think he'll stay.
Yeah, more than likely, if they can't work out a contract, he's getting franchised. So he's going to
Yes.
be there next year unless Snyder's a complete and total idiot, which, hey, he is, so you never know.
Well, when he first came in the league, he had an ego that was way overdone. But
Guess
I think
what?
he's
It's
calmed
still
down.
there.
Yeah, I think he's calmed down a lot.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay, get back to me on the team name, and then we'll talk.
I think he's learned a lot. So
Anyway, so here's the thing for Washington. Basically, what happened, here's my problem with Kirk Cousins.
okay,
From what we've seen from him up until this second half of this season, is he had shown us that he is not good and has a high propensity for throwing a lot of picks.
okay,
But then second half of this season, he caught fire and really didn't turn the ball over ever,
right,
or very rarely. So the question you have to ask yourself is, do we trust the last half a season we saw from Cousins, or do we trust the first, 2.5 or 3.5 years we saw from Kirk Cousins? Which do we think is more likely to continue, 3.5 years or half a year?
that's
Which is more likely to
more than likely it'll
take
be-
hold and
yes.
continue onwards?
Yes, so we'll
You know,
probably
I mean,
wait
if
and
he
see.
can, stay in this, what we saw at the end of the year this year,
Yes.
form, then yeah, he is solid. Is he, a franchise quarterback? Probably not. He's probably more in like the Alex Smith level of like the guy who can get you to the playoffs, but probably not win you a Super Bowl without a lot of help from the defense and probably a running game,
Yeah.
and maybe also just a tremendous receiver too,
Okay,
type stuff,
yes.
you know?
Mhm. Yes.
Like Cousins probably would not be the type of quarterback who's just going to get insanely hot and carry you to a Super Bowl like Rodgers did for the Packers that one year,
Right.
like Flacco did that one year, like Eli did twice. You know, he's
Right.
probably not going to do that.
Probably not.
So we'll have to see. Other than that, this team, the defense can use some work. They need to figure out what the heck is happening with the running backs.
Yes.
Also, just for my fantasy team's sake, that'd be nice too.
Yes.
I mean, I spent the whole season with both Morris and Jones on my roster
Yeah.
all year. I think I started Morris like 3 times
Boy.
and Jones maybe twice, and then neither of them the rest of the year. Anyway,
Yeah.
on to San Diego. Okay.
Hey, AFC. San Diego.
All right. Here's the thing.
The team that gave up, I think.
Not maybe the team did, but Phillip Rivers does not give up. This is Phillip Rivers. He does not quit on anything.
On anything.
On football, having children, anything. He does not quit on it.
That's true. Okay.
So, outside of him, team was not very good most of the year.
No.
Keenan Allen was back to rookie form, so he was great until he broke his kidney,
Okay.
injured his kidney and whatnot and everything.
Yes.
Gates was kind of what you would expect from a tight end at this age, which is late Atlanta Tony Gonzalez, which is,
Okay.
kind of there to occupy a defender or two and maybe catch a few touchdowns. That's about it.
Okay.
And then the last 3-4 games, which was the whole, we have no shot to do anything. So, Malcolm Floyd, you're retiring, right? All right, we're going to have the Malcolm Floyd retirement tour. Let's go, basically. So,
Well, yeah.
the team was just murdered by injuries, which happened last year.
It happens.
I think the year before.
They
Yeah,
had to
it
do
was-
something.
Like the year before, through like week 5 or 6, they were like the best team in the league.
Yeah.
And then injuries started killing the offensive line, and then I think they may not even make the playoffs. So the team has had a huge injury problem the past like 3 years.
years,
A lot of it's
yeah.
the offensive line just gets decimated annually at this point.
Yeah.
The receiving core, really the last 2 years, has been 1, decimated, and then 2, not very good outside of like your top option. Really.
Right.
I mean, outside of Keenan, they have this year was Stevie Johnson, who hasn't been good since he was in Buffalo, like in 09 or 10. Then you had Malcolm Floyd, who, has never been all that great. And then you had, who were some of these other people?
They've been through the ringer.
Dontrell Inman, who was there.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Gates, is still Gates, but is at the point where he's not terribly useful anymore, really. The running game was really sad. Honestly, I don't think Melvin Gordon's very good. From what I've seen, I don't think he's very good. Now, that could be just because the offensive line is about the equivalent of if you and me were out there opening holes for him, which is basically he ain't going nowhere.
Well,
Which happens when you're on like your 4th string O-line. That kind of happens.
yeah. I want to say he's decent. He averaged 3.5 yards a carry,
That's not very good, though.
but
That's not all that good.
with that offensive line, it could be better.
Right. Danny Woodhead is still just great. Like, the thing I really hear, this is going to go into a Patriots thing quickly, but I don't understand why they let all the players leave that they let leave. Like all the running backs they let leave. Like they let Woodhead leave,
Yeah.
and he's fantastic. They let Vereen leave, and he's fantastic. And now you're stuck with LeGarrette Blount, who's kind of Marshawn Lynch if he didn't know how to do anything, and just kind of ran. So basically Eddie Lacy.
I guess we'll get to the Patriots later, and I'll comment on that.
Yeah.
If you want.
Well,
if I remember.
Sure. And then like you had Dion Lewis, who is basically Stephen Ridley and Shane Vereen and Danny Woodhead 4.0, and he's a decent running back and catches a lot of passes out of the backfield and is honestly, like the B level of those.
Yeah.
So anyway, Oakland.
We also have to wait to see if San Diego moves to LA.
Well,
Will they or won't they?
Well, here's the thing. Dean Spanos was just so determined to get out of San Diego to move to LA. Not quite like Stan Kroenke level, because he was like, yeah, I'm going to build the stadium. I don't care what you say. I'm going to build the stadium.
Whether you let us move or not.
If we don't move, we may not even play. We'll boycott the season and whatnot.
Yeah.
Type jump. He wanted to LA badly. Spanos isn't quite that bad. Spanos, his whole thing was the city won't give us money to build a stadium, and I don't want to have to pay more than $500 million or something, and the city won't give us $350, they'll only give us $250 and whatnot, was really his thing. So I think that really we'll have to wait till June.
Okay.
Because that's when San Diego is having they're voting, the public is voting on a referendum of should the city give the Chargers I think it's $250 million for their stadium or not. And I think Spanos has said basically if they approve that, with the money I'm willing to put up with the NFL now going to give us $100 million of their money if we stay in San Diego to build the stadium, I think he would probably then stay. Just because, okay, basically I get what I want. It's just not quite all paid for by the city and me.
Yeah.
The NFL is going to pay it. So, it's kind of what I wanted, but
I don't know
it
if
should
they can
still
wait
be
till
okay.
June, but
well, technically they have until next January to tell the NFL if they're going to move or not.
Oh, okay.
Technically. Which, if they decide not to, then the Raiders can decide if they want to move in with the Rams or not.
Yes, okay.
So,
all right.
That's that thing. Oakland looks really good for the future.
Oakland looks good for the future. They don't mess it up.
Right. Amari Cooper looks great. Derek Carr looks great. Latavius Murray looks pretty good.
Murray.
The defense
3 young guys.
The defense looks really nice.
Defense looks good with Woodson going to retire, though.
Yes, which is a sad day for all of us, but,
Which he deserves it.
It's
He'll be
all
a
right.
Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm. This team, I would say, given what I think is going to happen to Denver, I could see a wild card berth for this Oakland team next year.
Next year, yes, I do too, yes.
Mm-hmm. Maybe even a division title, depending on how KC goes.
I can see it. I mean, another year with these young guys. And, oh, yeah, I could see them if they don't mess it up.
Right.
Which Oakland's been known to do.
Well,
if they don't mess it up,
they
have a good chance.
KC.
KC.
I mean, there's not really anything different than we expected, except they were still good without Jamal Charles, which we didn't really expect.
They were good without Jamal Charles, which
other than that,
kind of shocking.
This team is really good. The defense is great. They blitz well. They rush the quarterback insanely good. They have great corners.
Yes.
Great safety, who I was about to call Brandon Flowers, but that was a Chargers corner.
Right.
By the name of Eric Berry, who was great. And then, Alex Smith is Alex Smith, but he's throwing the ball to receivers this year.
Right.
It's exciting.
Especially in the red
To
zone.
receivers.
Yes.
You ever heard of that?
Not from Kansas City.
Receivers.
Not in the end zone.
I know.
Gosh.
But Jeremy Macklin's great.
Kansas City.
Anyway.
I don't see him making the Super Bowl,
I don't know.
but we'll see.
Honestly, in the AFC, even though this is getting a little ahead of where we're at right now, I mean, yeah, I think they have the longest shot to make it,
Yes. Oh, yeah.
but
I believe so, yes.
I'd say they're probably the scariest team, though.
They could be
So, I mean, Pittsburgh is decimated right now.
decimated.
Denver is in the very unwanted quarterback flux situation. That's
Yes.
never good.
Uh-huh.
And then New England is kind of in the whole injury boat, too.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, granted, yeah, you have to more than likely win two more on the road,
Yes.
unless Pittsburgh beats Denver, and then hey, you get a host the AFC title game potentially.
Well, we'll get to
But-
that later, I guess. But
Then Denver.
Denver.
Here's the problem with Denver. The quarterbacking. I mean, sure, it's Peyton Manning and he's great and whatnot, but
okay.
historically great. Not so much this year, but
Historically,
overall, here's the thing with Peyton. For his legacy, at least, right?
yes.
I think like this year, maybe even last year, and like the year he missed with injury too, obviously, are going to be kind of like the Michael Jordan Wizard years.
Yes.
Like no one really remembers any of it.
For sure.
Like
Okay.
we might remember like the second Denver year, the passing touchdown record and yardage season year.
Yes.
That stuff. We may remember that year, but we're not going to remember really any of the others from this Denver stint.
Probably
Kind of
not.
like the Jordan Wizard stint or the Jerry Rice Raiders stint. Like,
Right.
we don't really remember any of that. Or Randy Moss post Patriots the first time
Right.
stint. We don't really remember any of that stuff.
We probably won't.
But-
he definitely was not Peyton Manning early in the year.
He really wasn't all year. I mean, even when he came in, and did his heroics in Week 17 against
Week
San Diego
17.
to clinch the 1 seed, he still didn't look all that great.
He wasn't
He didn't-
all that great, but gee, he had 5 or 6 weeks off before that. So
Yeah, I mean, he didn't look like Peyton Manning.
No.
He looked like maybe, Alex Smith maybe.
knocked a little rust off of him.
But, I mean, he didn't look like Peyton Manning.
And Peyton Manning's playoff career has not been stellar.
That-
so
That too. But
That's
here's
the other
the thing with this Denver team here for the future, at least. The defense, here's the problem with the defense.
yes,
It's somewhat old.
somewhat. Okay.
Aqib Talib is getting up there.
Okay.
DeMarcus Ware is getting up there.
There. And he's injured a little.
That too. When they're gone, LEG Von Miller, Chris Harris, and whoever else you got, which I don't remember.
Right.
I remember Brandon Marshall just because of if there's ever like a
Right.
currently Jets Denver game, it's like, wait,
You got-
which one are they talking about?
you got
It always
TJ
throws
Ward,
me off for half a second. It's
You got
like
a Shaquille
Brandon
Barrett.
Marshall's out there.
You got a Bradley Roby,
Sure, right. I don't know any of these people. So,
Josh Bush.
okay.
I mean, you got the defense will be decent, I think.
Right. But those two guys leave, it becomes less stifling than it was this year.
Right.
And then on offense, here's the problem. The quarterbacking. I mean, sure, Peyton is done after this year. There is no
Okay.
way he plays again after this year. There is no way.
Okay.
I don't think he can physically play a whole season anymore. I just don't think he can.
I don't see it myself
No.
either.
That he can't. I mean, that whole like first 6-7 weeks,
was horrendous.
Every throw, he had to put, it looked like he was putting every ounce of strength he had into every throw.
Yes.
And that's not good.
No.
There, he's done. And here's the thing, Osweiler,
Yeah.
not look too good. I mean,
He's not.
no. I mean, here, like, he was okay in terms of he wasn't throwing as many picks.
Yeah.
But other than that, it
still,
was about the same as this
Yeah.
year's Peyton, just without all the picks.
Yeah.
So you got to move on from him, I think, too. And then that leaves you with basically no quarterback.
Right.
And you're probably not going to get a very good one in the draft at this rate because you're probably getting
Oh, well.
a top 4 pick.
You're almost stuck with Osweiler,
Bottom 4
so-
pick, technically. Well, he's a free agent after this year. So, I mean, you franchise him and you have to pay him like 16 mil.
Oh, no, you're not going to franchise him.
You re-sign
Can't do that.
him and what, 10 mil, like 2-year, 20 million deal maybe?
Maybe. You can't franchise
Maybe.
Osweiler.
No, but
But you almost have to keep him.
maybe do 1 year, 10 million, just like a little flyer contract.
Flyer.
And just be like, okay, we'll try you out this year. If you're great, we'll give you 5 year, 100 million, maybe after this year. But
Okay. Then we'll be
I don't
tough.
know. Yeah, this year, sure, but like next year and the year after, I just don't see it going too well for him.
They may fall.
Yeah. 2
Okay.
more to bid, 3 more. Holy cow.
Yeah, we need to step it up.
Tennessee
Tennessee.
looks good, except the defense is not very good. And Mariota's like being like fragile and whatnot worries me. Other than that, great. Dorial Green Beckham, awesome stuff. Anyway, Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
The thing that worries me about Bortles is he's really bad until they get in like a 10-point hole. Then he's really, really good. Like when the other team stops trying, he's really good. But as long as the other team's trying, he's not very good.
Well,
I like Hearns and Robinson. They're nice receivers. They're pretty
I
good.
think Bortles improved a lot this year.
He
from the
did. He
start.
did. But, you know, it's just that whole little inconsistency of like the whole I'm really, really good when the D ain't trying. But when they are trying, I'm competent to not very good.
Well, the fact that he threw
Right
for
now.
over 4,400 yards this year.
That is encouraging. That is
I'll-
good. But
His quarterback rating was 88 for the year.
that's not, well, that's okay.
You know,
But
he threw almost twice as many TDs as interceptions. I'll take that, I think,
yeah, but
because he did show improvement throughout the year.
he did. But then can he put together good performances without the team being in a hole?
Well, we'll see.
That's what we need to see the next step from.
Yes.
But Alan Hearns, Allen Robinson looked great. TJ Yeldon was
He was okay.
okay
for a rookie.
for a rookie. He was,
He was
solid.
okay.
So
I think their future looks
it
A bit
does.
better.
It does. It
better
does.
than a 4-12 every year.
Yes. Yes, they're up to 5-11 every
Yes.
Indy.
Indy. Okay, I could discuss this for years, but
Yes.
8-8, Andrew Luck injured.
Right.
Um,
I would almost contend injured all year just from the way he was looking early. Even like
Oh,
week 1,
I-
he did not look like Andrew Luck.
yes.
So, like, I don't know, something must have happened in the preseason, even though he wasn't playing much, but
Uh-huh.
something must have happened in the preseason that just
Something had to because he was
got him. 'Cause
Ugly.
yeah.
ugly.
So, him hopefully coming back fully healthy next season should be really good. Now, my quick theory on why I think they were so bad besides that, this is what I'm going to call the Milwaukee Bucks of 2015-16 NBA theory
Okay.
as well, is everyone was, praising the Colts as, oh, they're Super Bowl contenders
Yes.
type stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
And so they saw all that, like, oh, we're really, really good. Okay. And so they let it all go to their heads and were like, oh, we can beat all these teams. No problem. And then, oh, okay, we just got served our butt on a platter with a side of butter. Okay.
Yeah.
Well then. So that's kind of we're overconfident in our ability, and therefore we think we're better than we are, and so we don't try as hard as we should, and we lose. Also what Milwaukee is doing this year in the NBA, it seems to me.
Okay. Well, everyone knows that at the start of the year, the Colts seemed to be a Super Bowl favorite.
Mm-hmm.
People thought that.
Mm-hmm.
And, I fell in that trap that people were thinking they were that good.
Uh-huh.
But what kills me about the Colts, okay, and I know you say Reggie Wayne flopped last year and he didn't do much.
Uh-huh.
But so you get rid of Reggie, you replace him with Andre Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, who's good, but he's another, at the end of his career. Okay,
Uh-huh.
at running back, you say, oh, let's bring in Frank Gore, who's good,
Uh-huh.
but he's at the end of his career. I mean,
Though here's the running back question. Would you rather have Trent Richardson?
no.
Okay.
But
You want Trent Richardson back, or you want Gore?
the thing is, I don't see bringing those guys in should elevate them so high, per se. And, it turned out to be right, except Luck. Who knew he'd throw almost as many interceptions as touchdowns this year?
Right.
His quarterback rating is 75.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what kills me, and I'm sorry, they re-signed Chuck Pagano as coach. I have no respect for Pagano as a coach. I'm sorry. I don't. Most of the time when I see him on the side, he looks lost. He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm sorry.
Watch a Chargers game. Focus on Mike McCoy for like a quarter.
And they brought him back, and everyone knows him and the GM Grigson apparently don't get along.
So re-sign them both.
So re-sign them both, and let's have them both here. Let's get rid of. They got rid of a lot of coaches,
Mm-hmm.
so we'll see what happens next year. But I'm looking at next year might be another 8-8 season. So.
Well, watch a Chargers game. Like watch Mike McCoy for like a solid quarter,
Okay.
and you'll see Lost on the sideline.
All righty.
Houston
Houston.
won a division with a non-competent quarterback.
Okay.
That is amazing to me.
Yes.
Brian Hoyer won a division.
Hey.
Well, as did Brandon Whedon, Ryan
Yes.
Mallett, and TJ Yates won a division.
Yes.
Just let that soak in for a second. Brandon Whedon legitimately helped a team win a division.
Well, all I can say, I see a news story on Houston right here. The Texans owner, their number one off-season priority is finding a franchise quarterback.
Should be.
So there you go.
Should be.
I know we're not in the playoff area yet, but another news story, Brian Hoyer's performance, that was probably against the Chiefs,
Mm-hmm.
was the worst ever in postseason. So,
I can believe it. That there was 4 picks and like 2 fumbles.
yeah, Hoyer is not your franchise quarterback.
No. Here's the thing for Houston. Take a flyer on RG3. Do it. He says he
Okay.
wants to play for Dallas.
Yeah, he
I don't
wants
think-
Dallas.
Whatever Jerry Jones says, I'm sure Jones would do it. But if you can get him, I mean, Houston, Dallas, I'm not great with geography. They're not terribly far apart.
Well, they're in Texas, so
Right. I mean, they're not terribly far apart. I think they're both reasonably close to Baylor.
they're.
I don't know.
I mean, Houston.
So,
Being in Texas, that might be a 4-hour drive between Dallas and Houston.
okay.
So
If you're Houston, take a flyer on him. He wants to be in Dallas, but Houston's reasonably close.
yes, If Dallas won't take him,
If
sure.
right, if he goes for it, take a flyer on him.
Take a flyer
Just
on him.
try it out. Just see what he can do. See if he now, after like a whole year of being healthy, all year finally, again,
Yes.
and having probably a little rest, but not being, physically exhausted from doing anything.
Yeah. I'd take a flyer
Yeah.
on him.
Take a flyer. Just see if he still has any ability left.
I'd take a flyer in the
Fun.
preseason.
Yeah,
Hey, play our first game. Let's see what you got.
yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Defense is, there. J.J. Watt is J.J. Watt. So, DeAndre Hopkins is insane.
Yeah,
And that's really all you need at this point right now.
right now.
I mean, they're going to need to address running back quickly, like soon,
Yeah,
because Arian Foster is getting towards the end of his career and is also getting into the I get injured every other carry
yes.
stage.
Yes, he's done.
So he's nearly done.
Okay, 2 more divisions.
Cleveland is Cleveland.
It's Cleveland.
That's really all we have to say.
Johnny Manziel.
Is
Okay.
gone. He's gone.
Yes,
We'll get there in a second, though.
he is gone.
Baltimore.
Had some
Injuries. That's really it. Injuries. Steve Smith goes down. Justin Forsett goes down. Joe Flacco goes down.
Yes,
They're like your 3 best players who aren't on your O-line
right.
go down.
You're done.
That's not going to go anywhere.
And Steve Smith, this was supposed to be his last year, but
He is going to come
now
back.
says
He
he's
says,
coming back.
yes. He wants to play a whole year. He wants a last playoff appearance. I think that's his
I
thing.
think that's what he wants.
He wants a playoff appearance, and then he'll go.
And
Then he'll go bye-bye.
good luck.
So, well, it could happen, though.
Okay.
You never know.
Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh.
one of the craziest offenses in the league
Yeah,
when they're all healthy.
yeah, I mean, Roethlisberger is great. Even though I'm not a huge fan of him, he's great.
Uh-huh.
Antonio Brown is
It's crazy.
ridiculous.
Yes.
Le'Veon Bell is also ridiculous.
Uh-huh.
Martavis Bryant, when he's focused, is insane at the same time.
Yes.
Marcus Wheaton is kind of there. Hayward Bay is there. Heath
So-
Miller is Heath Miller, I mean, D'Angelo Williams has some gas left in the tank, amazingly enough.
Amazingly, yes.
So there's nothing to not like about this team on the offensive side of the ball.
Right.
Then you get to the defense, and it's like, well, we got Shazier. He's here.
And
That's about it. William Gay's here.
that's why we have to have a good offense, because our defense,
That's
well,
about it. On to
And-
Cincy.
the Bengals. Oh, boy.
For the future, like next year, I would not be surprised if Cincy declines a little. Because as it broke today, Hugh Jackson is going to go to Cleveland and coach Cleveland.
Yes.
So you lose your offensive coordinator.
You lose him.
Now, granted, yes, you still have Andy Dalton, who is apparently pretty good,
Yes.
and A.J. Green, who is, as we know, really, really good. And then Mohamed Sanu, Marvin Jones are nice. Tyler Eifert is, second best tight end in the league
Uh-huh.
to just the AFC, maybe, depending on how Jimmy Graham's fallen. Depending on if we still think Graham's 2 or is he now 3. I mean, obviously Gronk's 1. That's kind of indisputable anyway.
Right. Well, and I know I should have probably done this under Cleveland, but since we talked about Hugh Jackson going to Cleveland,
Mhm.
the news is, believe it or not, I know this is Cleveland too. He says he has over 140 texts from coaches who want to join the Browns and join him. So I think he's very popular.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it may turn Cleveland around.
I mean, he has said he wants Manziel out.
But,
He said that. He said,
Manziel's gone.
yeah, Hugh said, I'll come, but you got to get rid of Manziel.
Manziel's gone.
And Haslam was like, okay, sure, why not? Yeah, okay. He doesn't want to be here for our season finale. He wants to be in Vegas in a wig. Okay, sure, yeah, he's gone. Yeah,
Manziel's
whatever.
nothing but a headache.
Yeah. Cincy this year is really good, but injuries killed him. and Vontaze Burfict being an idiot, but a great football player, but an idiot,
Yes.
also did not help them.
Okay.
And injuries did not help them.
No. Miami
Miami.
fired their coach.
Yes, they hired Adam Gase. I like that.
Got Adam Gase.
Adam Gase with Ryan Tannehill, this could just murder for a while.
Okay, well, we'll see.
If Gase can do his normal thing and make Tannehill look like a franchise quarterback and actually turn into one,
Yes, Miami's underperformed for years.
yes,
Uh,
they could be really deadly.
they
real
could
fast.
be. They could be. We'll see.
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Tyrod Taylor looks okay.
He looks okay.
Okay. I wouldn't trust him with my franchise as my franchise quarterback. but
Well,
he looks okay. He can run well. He can throw bombs pretty well too.
LaShawn McCoy looked okay.
He looked
Running
okay when he
back.
was healthy.
So
The defense looked real sad though. The defense was not good this year.
defense should have been better.
Yes, and here's the thing. There's no evidence it's going to get better either. 'Cause here's the
Well,
thing. I mean, yes, Rex is there and Rex is great,
yes.
but he hired Rob Ryan. He hired his brother now as his defensive coordinator.
Yes, who could not do anything with New Orleans
No.
defense.
Here's the thing, though. Given his history, Rob Ryan is not a good defensive coordinator. He's
No.
horrible.
He's horrible.
The only reason he has a job is because he's related to Rex, who
I
is
believe
great.
So
So
I think that's
Rex
the wrong
gives him a
direction,
job.
but, hey,
Whatever. I don't know. I think Buffalo will be okay if they can keep LaShawn healthy.
I think they'll stay around 8-8
Yeah.
unless they do something.
Right. Now the Jets. Here's the thing with the Jets.
Just for surprising, 10-6. Should have made the playoffs.
Right. Here's the thing with the Jets. The defense is great. Todd Bowles is your coach. He's fantastic.
Yes,
Fitzpatrick and Brandon Marshall.
yes,
Obviously, longtime listeners here would know I love Brandon Marshall.
yes.
Now, Ryan Fitzpatrick, I've not been a huge fan of, but it's, he's okay. He's there. He can do things. He's not going to ever lead me to a Super Bowl, I don't imagine.
Okay,
But, he's there. Here's the thing for the Jets. They need to re-sign Fitzpatrick. He's technically a free agent after this year.
Okay.
They need to bring him back until you find a competent next guy.
right.
Obviously, we know Geno Smith is not that guy. We
No.
know that. So that's really all you need. Find a nice, competent next quarterback. Keep Fitzpatrick until he dies and turns into Matt Schaub of 2012.
Right,
And that's really all you got to do.
yes.
Keep Darrelle Revis healthy, and you should be set.
They have a lot of free agents,
That they do.
so they will have to work those out
Right.
and keep Fitzgerald happy maybe, and he is a free agent.
Uh-huh.
It's one of the news stories is that the Jets are considering Matt Forte.
I could see it.
So
That would work. That would be insane, though.
if Matt Forte comes to the Jets,
That would be ridiculous. I mean, you got Chris Ivory,
Yes.
who, when he's healthy, is really good.
uh-huh,
And when he's not healthy, hey, we got Matt Forte, who's also really good.
put them both
So-
out there at the same time, and
Whew.
what's the defense is going to do?
Yeah, let's see. We got, they're going to either run at us with huge power or with a little shifty dude who can also come out of the backfield and catch it.
Yeah.
Oh, great. What are we going to do?
They both can catch it.
Mm-hmm. Well, Ivory's not great at that, though.
Okay, anyway,
New England.
the Jets. Okay, off.
Would
to
you like to do a New England thing first?
New England?
You want to talk about New England first, since I know you love them so dearly?
Well, they've always been a thorn in my side of the Colts.
Yeah, I know. That's what happens when you win Super Bowls, kids. People don't like you because you're better than them. Onwards.
But I will say, Tom Brady,
Is outstanding.
whatever else this year, okay, showed me that, take away his number one receiver, take away his number two receiver,
Uh-huh.
take away his number three receiver. Take away his running back. Take away his second running back. Take away his center. Take away his tackle. Take away his guard.
Take away everyone but Gronk for 2 games, basically.
And he's still 12-4.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, who are you throwing to now? Oh,
Gronk and Keyshawn Martin.
I mean, this dude was in the 6th row of the stands just 5 minutes ago. I brought him down here and we're throwing. It's like, it doesn't matter who he throws to. It doesn't matter who's on his team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, to me, the Patriots say, Woodhead, you want an increase in pay? We don't need you. You're out of here. See, we'll get whoever. Sign him at minimum wage, and we don't need Woodhead. Hey, Joe, you want a raise? Guess what? You're not getting a raise. You're out of here. And New England deals that way.
Right.
And I don't know how they keep winning, and they keep winning. And they end up the season 12-4 with no receivers, no running backs. And most people will tell you, you can't be a one-dimensional team. But New England, I don't even think they ran this year.
When it's Brady and Gronk, it's a very good dimension, though. That's the thing. You can be one-dimensional, but that one dimension, you have to be insanely good with that one dimension.
Yes.
And New England is insanely good with that one Brady to Gronk dimension.
I mean, LeGarrette Blount was their leading rusher with 700 yards. Okay, that led your team 700 yards. Which sometimes it does. Their second highest leading rusher only had 200 yards. So their top 2 rushers didn't even hit 1,000. And yet, here's Brady who throws for 4,700 yards, and everyone knows he's going to pass. We know you're passing. You ain't running the ball. You're going to pass, and he can still do it. 36 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions, a rating of over 100, which this was one pass attempt, but Danny Amendola actually had a higher quarterback rating than Brady, but that was on 1 pass play. Well, yeah, he says he wants to play till he's 45. Well, if he keeps doing this, he can play till it. When you look at Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, they're within like 1 year of each other in age. The way Tom Brady's playing, the way Peyton Manning, it's apples and oranges.
Well, here's the thing, though, with Peyton, right? I mean, most of it was just like all of a sudden this year he was really bad. Like last year he was still
decent,
pretty good. He wasn't horrible. He wasn't, oh my, Peyton Manning's coming, bunker down, great. But it was, it's Peyton Manning. We still got to worry.
Yes.
It wasn't quite, Brady right now level of great, but it was still. I mean, you could tell he was getting into the decline.
Yes.
But Peyton's was a slow, gentle decline and then just fell straight off a cliff.
Yes. But, and I'm just going to conjecture here. How would Peyton Manning do if you took away his top 3 receivers and his top 2 running backs for a long period? Would he still...
Is this current Peyton Manning or like
I'll say 5 years ago?
5 years ago.
See, would he still have been as awesome? He might have been pretty good still, obviously.
Right.
But
I would have to say yes.
Manning never went through and had Harrison injured. Never had Wayne injured. Never had, Demaryius Thomas injured. Never.
Right.
I don't recall his number 1 receiver ever being injured.
Right. Well, that's what separates the greatest of quarterbacks from the pretty good quarterbacks.
And that's the thing that got me with Brady this year.
Is the ability to still be really, really good with basically no one on your roster.
I mean,
that's what Phil did this year, too. Look at Rivers' stats for this year.
Yeah,
he did that kind of stuff, too.
Now, he did not have a 100 quarterback rating.
Well, no, because literally, like, every game it was what can we do? Phil, you have to throw like 60 times and
Yes.
maybe we win.
I mean, his rating was at 94.
Uh-huh.
He threw 29 touchdowns and 13 ints.
Right.
So he was still pretty good. And yeah,
Uh-huh.
they did. I mean, his leading receiver was Danny Woodhead.
Yeah.
Uh,
His second running back.
So Keenan Allen got 725 yards and Gates
In
had
like 8
630.
Keenan did that in like 8 games.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
Rivers was great, but
Yeah.
it really made me appreciate
know.
Tom Brady more this year.
I know.
think.
It separates the greatest of quarterbacks from the you're pretty good but not quite
But,
great
Yeah,
quarterbacks.
it's Tom Brady. Okay.
Now, hereafter, holy cow. Very quickly. This is more for next year, but head coach openings.
Okay.
I believe there's still only 4 openings.
Okay.
San Fran, Philly, Tennessee, and the Giants.
Okay.
Now, if I were to
Cut
rank
my
these
head.
in terms of not availability, but
Of desire, of
yes, desire. How much would me personally, if I
want to coach these.
yes,
guys,
if I
okay?
were somehow magically a viable NFL head coaching candidate,
Yes.
it's a very, very far-fetched situation.
Okay.
Which team would I want to walk into? For me, I would say the Giants' job is the most desirable
Okay.
right now. If I'm thinking like right now, win now, I would have to say the Giants' job would be the most desirable for win right now.
Look
Just
at
from
this.
Eli and Odell and whatnot. If I want to win, like maybe get to the playoffs this year or next year, or even the 3rd year, I'd have to go the Giants' job.
Okay.
For near immediate success, I'd have to say the Giants' job would be the most desirable. If I'm looking like long-term, 10 years from now,
Yes.
I would have to say the Tennessee job is the most desirable in terms of a long-term 5 to 10 years down the road. I think Tennessee would be the best job out of them for that.
Yeah, and as a coach, you can't look that far in advance because
Right.
you may not be there in
Right.
5 years.
Right.
I would put the Giants and the Eagles probably close together
Okay.
and be way, way, way above Tennessee and San Fran. I would not even consider
Okay.
the 49. I'd say no.
Okay.
I would never ever go. Well, not now. I would not go to the 49ers.
Right. Okay. So let me think here. So I'm just going to go all of this like long-term. If I got hired today, which team would I want to still be coaching 5 years in advance,
Okay.
more than likely? So for me, I'd have to say Tennessee is the most desirable out of that,
Okay.
just from the young roster that is very talented.
It's very good.
And also a number 1 draft pick doesn't
And you
hurt.
get a number 1 draft pick this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Doesn't hurt either.
don't mess it up.
Then I would have to say still that Giants job would be second for that.
Okay, because of Beckham,
Yeah.
probably.
Just Beckham, and then I can probably get a semi-competent quarterback in the draft at some point and whatnot.
Yeah, to take. Okay. But Manning will probably still be around for 5 years. So.
Right. Then I have to say that Philly job would be
Okay.
next for me.
Okay.
Then that San Fran job. Just, I love the area. San Fran's nice. Great place.
Yes.
But the football team, not so much.
No,
Live in the city, sure. Coach the team, please no.
maybe. Since their arena's like 40 miles away from
Well,
San Fran.
live in San Fran, that'd be great. But,
sure.
Living in San Fran, that'd be nice. That'd be great. But coaching the team, I'd rather not.
No,
I'd rather not.
like I said, 49ers, I
Yeah.
wouldn't even consider.
No. Now, there have been 2 hirings that I can
Okay.
remember off the top of my head. Adam Gase is now going to coach Miami, and Hugh Jackson will be coaching Cleveland.
Cleveland,
next year.
yes.
That's all I know.
Okay.
They should be good. I mean, I like both of them. They're both great offensive coordinators.
Right.
Now we'll see if that can translate into good head coach.
Yes.
We don't know yet.
We don't know.
So we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
Now, I have a list here.
Okay.
My top coaching candidates. I have 4.
Okay.
In terms of if I were the owner
Okay.
of a team, right? And I'm looking for my next head coach.
Okay.
Who I would want. So I have 4. I'm going to rank them in order of who I would interview first and hire, more than likely,
Okay.
first. So first, I would go Josh McDaniels first.
Okay.
I'm going to go him first right now.
All right.
Did you know? He knows the Denver thing was not a good idea. He knows that. He knows I should not have done that, but I did.
Yes.
And then I came back, and now with Belichick and everything, I've learned more. I think I might be ready to run a team now again and whatnot.
Okay.
So I would give him that shot first.
Okay.
Then after McDaniels, if I can't get McDaniels, I'm going to get on my little phone and I'm going to call up Chip Kelly.
Okay.
Okay? I'm going to tell him, look, I ain't giving you that GM job. You ain't getting player personnel. But you can do whatever you want with the coaching. Okay? Whatever you want, you can do it.
Okay.
So I'm going to call up Chip Kelly next.
Okay.
And if I can't get Chip Kelly, I'm going to make a call to an older dude in here. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call Doug Marrone next.
Okay.
I'm going to see if he's busy. He wants to go play some golf and probably murder me at it. And then I'll give him a coaching job.
Okay.
And if he don't want it, my last resort that would still be a good idea probably, I'm going to call up Ben McAdoo. I'm going to see if Ben McAdoo wants a head coaching job.
Really? Okay.
Well, first I'm going to have to call up the Giants ownership and say, hey, can I interview McAdoo
Well, of
first?
course,
I'm going to have
yes.
to do that.
Uh-huh.
But I'd try to be getting McAdoo then.
Okay. I did not do this exercise. So
No,
I
you did
cannot-
not.
I was not told to,
Oh, well, you know.
so I could not do that. But personally, I would probably not call Chip Kelly.
You would not call Chip Kelly. Okay, well.
And I know you may not agree, but I might have to put Lovie Smith on my list.
I do like Lovey, but
But I probably would not have Josh McDaniels on my list either. I'm sorry that his Denver fiasco.
Well, I mean, largely it would depend on what
I
the
can't get
team
over that.
needs.
Yes.
Largely depend on what the team needs, because like all of those are all like offensive people.
Right.
So if I needed good defense people, yeah, I'm calling Lovey first for defense. If I
Yes.
need a defensive person, I'm calling Lovey first.
Okay.
I'm calling him first. Or maybe I might call up Buffalo and say, hey, you want to get rid of Rex Ryan? You want to get rid of him?
Yeah.
Hey, Oakland,
Okay.
you have any interest in getting rid of Jack Del Rio? Huh? Chicago, you want to get rid of John Fox? Huh?
Yeah.
Arizona, you feel like an idiot? You want to get rid of Bruce Arians again?
Yeah.
Or someone want to? Anyway, now I guess, okay, we're going to have to skip. Now we'll do our most surprising things.
Okay.
I have a few good things.
Okay.
Good things. We're going to have to speed through this stuff.
Okay.
So my surprisingly good things. Tyrod Taylor and Kirk Cousins being not horrible quarterbacks.
Okay. That sounds good. Yeah.
Adrian Peterson still has gas left in the tank.
Yeah.
Now, this was before I really looked at the stats, but I put Seattle's reverse dominance.
Okay.
Because typically we expect Seattle to just dominate on the defensive end and then the offense kind of score enough to win and not lose.
Uh-huh.
And this year, I thought till I looked at the stats, it was like the opposite, that their offense just throttled and the defense kind of just held the opponent out of the end zone enough. But when you look at the stats,
Yes.
both units just throttled people like the last half of the year. The defense was suffocating, the offense just ran over everyone.
Yes. Their defense allowed the least amount of points this year
Mm-hmm.
and the least rushing yards. So
Mm-hmm.
their defense was pretty good.
Yes. Then I just put in general the Jets.
Jets, yeah.
Then the strong rookie class.
The super strong rookie class, yeah.
I didn't say it's quite super strong.
Well, I'm going to.
You have Mariota and Jameis Winston, who, as of right now, both look like franchise quarterbacks.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right now. Now, obviously, both RG3 and Andrew Luck did after year one.
Correct.
And I don't really know, but I believe Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning did after year one, both too. More or less.
Yeah, I don't believe Ryan Leaf ever looked like the franchise quarterback, but
Okay, he didn't quite look horrible after year
Okay.
one, I don't believe.
I think he had a decent first year, yeah.
Okay. Now, Mariota's fragile, the whole knee thing, I'm not.
That could be a
I'm
problem.
leery of
Yes, that could be a problem.
He's getting into like almost T-Mac where it's like, oh, geez, is he
Yes.
hurt? Is he not?
Let's hope not.
Oh, geez, he is.
Okay.
Oh, geez. Area. Then Todd Gurley is ridiculous.
Okay. Yes.
I mean, you could contend he's like top, 3 running back in the league already, maybe. Top 5, probably.
Maybe top 5.
I mean, he's insane already.
Yeah.
And that's as a rookie. I mean, in 2-3 years, phew.
Unfortunately, he had too many negative runs.
Well, when they weren't negative, they were like 5-6 yard runs, like every
Yeah.
time.
And that's St. Louis did not have a great offensive line.
Not
so.
really. David Johnson
Uh-huh.
was great in
He was-
Arizona.
He was, yes.
We'll see what he does against Green Bay again. So
Unbelievable.
then Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper
Oh boy.
looks to be the real
Oh
deal.
boy. I'm gonna have so much fun watching 14 of the Oakland Raiders games, and then 2 I'm just gonna loathe them. The 2 San Diego games I'm just gonna loathe watching.
Yeah.
Other 14 I'm gonna love.
Carr should have lots of fun throwing.
That
to him
too.
for-
That too.
Boy, if they can keep him for 10, 12 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I don't remember the first name because I know they have 2 of them, but Lockett for Seattle.
Okay.
One of them's the rookie. I know there's Ricardo and Tyler. I forget which is which.
Yeah. I think Tyler's the rookie.
I don't remember. One's the one that like broke his neck on the Dallas dude broke his neck on the
Yeah.
kick return.
Uh-huh.
Another one's the receiver. I forget which is which.
Okay.
But the receiver one looks nice. And then in Minnesota, Stephon Diggs.
Yes.
Really, really good.
Looks
Good
pretty
stuff.
good.
Then I didn't put it on the list, but Dorial Green Beckham in
Okay.
Tennessee.
Tennessee, that's 2 for them.
Yeah, he in the
Looks
second half of
pretty
the
good.
year, he started showing like he is physically dominant. He is like Des Bryant 2.0. It's like insane.
That's why you want to coach Tennessee for the next 5 years.
Yeah, Mariota and
Uh-huh.
Green Beckham, Delaney Walker's great. Kendall Hunter when he was there is
Uh-huh.
great.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll agree with all them rookies.
Kendall Wright, not Kendall Hunter. Kendall Hunter
Okay.
not bad, but Kendall Wright. Whew.
Okay.
Then my surprising bad things. You have more surprising good things?
I'm just gonna say Carolina at 15-1.
Okay.
I'll just do these briefly.
Okay.
Another one was Gary Barnidge of Cleveland's tight end. He had
Here's the problem, though.
an outstanding year for.
I don't think that's sustainable.
Well,
I think
probably
I think that's like that, like 1 or 2 weird Dwayne Bowe and KC years where he was like really great. And then,
But that's
not
not.
good
I'm
ever
not
again.
judging for 20 years from now. I'm
I
just
know.
judging this year.
yeah.
Just came out of nowhere, surprising, and
Mm-hmm.
every week it seemed like Barnidge touchdown, Barnidge touchdown.
Uh-huh.
Who is this guy?
I imagine, though, it's going to be like Peyton Hillis. You remember him?
Oh yeah,
I think he's just going to be like that.
It
Except
could be.
Barnidge, this is like year 9 or 10 for him, though, not
the
2.
another one we briefly touched on was Larry Fitzgerald, his renaissance.
Right.
He actually had 109 receptions this year, which
Yeah.
is the most he's ever had in a year.
Wow.
And unbelievable at his age.
Yeah.
And surprising, I think we touched on this also, was D'Angelo Williams.
Yeah.
Where would the Steelers be? Because Le'Veon Bell went out early. He was suspended the first two games, came back, and
Played, I think,
played
3 or 4.
Yeah, a couple games, and then he was out.
Yeah.
Where would the Steelers be without D'Angelo Williams? I mean, he helped them a whole lot. And
Oh, yeah.
I mean, every announcer on every game I was like, he still has some
I know.
moves. He still has.
I know.
Holy.
Well, after watching the past, 3 years in Carolina, it was like, he's done. He has nothing. It's like watching Chris Johnson with the Jets. It was, he has nothing. And then he goes to Arizona. Oh, look, he's running over people again. He's blowing past you. Like, what is this?
So those
35-year-old Chris Johnson out here running by me? What is this?
Yes, those were some surprising things for me.
Right. Okay. Surprisingly bad things.
Yes. Okay.
Chip Kelly's horrendous GM tenure.
Yes. Okay. That'll be good.
Yes. Then I just put, in general, Peyton Manning, in general,
he
was
horrendous year.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, there's no doubt about it.
Uh-huh. Then,
horrendous year.
to continue my quarterback here, Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan being shaky was... Like, I didn't expect them to, be, this weird, almost mediocre quarterback for a while. And then it was like, they are. What is this? What am I watching?
Aaron Rodgers looked
it was like,
normal.
Is this... Did the alien have to go back to his home planet for a few weeks? What is this?
I mean,
What am I watching?
That's not Aaron.
No, that's...
Holy
cow.
He was surprisingly bad.
That's Matt Flynn out there in an Aaron Rodgers jersey. What is this?
For a few, yes. Okay.
Injuries murdering half the league.
A lot of injuries.
Yeah.
Man, it just...
I mean, even if you just count starting quarterbacks, let's see. Peyton got hurt, kind of.
Yes.
Andrew Luck got hurt.
I don't know if we want to do this exercise.
Tony Romo got hurt.
Yes.
Twice.
Yes.
Ben Roethlisberger got hurt a few times. Nick Foles got hurt. Brian Hoyer, for whatever that's worth, got hurt.
Yeah.
Josh McCown got hurt. Mariota was hurt. I know I'm forgetting quite a few.
I'm sure. And it's amazing how there's so many rules to protect the quarterback.
I mean, that's at least 8.
And still,
At least 8. Flacco,
see, the fourth of the league was injured.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yes, that is bad.
And also, apparently parity equals mediocre competition.
Okay.
Then Calvin Johnson may be retiring.
Calvin Johnson, that'll be a
surprise. That's surprisingly bad to me.
Yes.
Then this is kind of just general. This isn't necessarily. Well, yeah, this is a bad thing, but Johnny Manziel.
Okay.
In general. Just in general.
I mean,
granted, after last season, this isn't terribly surprising, but in general, but I think it's surprising just how bad it is, just how bad he actually is at being a non party person every single night of the week type stuff.
I mean, I'm not an NFL player.
Right.
I'm not an NBA player. I'm not a Major League Baseball player. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it seems like when it's football season, I should do football.
Mm-hmm.
It's only 17 weeks plus a couple playoff games if we make it. The preseason, I can wait and party, in February. And it really hit the bottom to me is when you go to Las Vegas in a wig.
Uh-huh.
So you can party.
Uh-huh.
Was it after the season? No. I mean, okay, guys, I know you're 20. I know you want to go party. Oh, I got to go party. You got 20 years to party.
Uh-huh.
Wait till after the season.
Uh-huh. Or if you want to be a truly great player, be like Peyton Manning. Be watching film like all year. Maybe take like 2-3 weeks off, maybe like right after the season, just to like recover and whatnot physically.
Yes.
Like outside of those 2-3 weeks, what does Peyton Manning do like all year? Watch film, break down film, do all this other stuff that he's done for the past 15 years.
I mean, yeah.
If you want to be truly great, that's the kind of level of dedication you have to
Well,
football or
any sport.
yeah. I mean,
Manziel obviously does not have that dedication.
no,
I would not want him on my team.
no. But you know, some team's just going to take a flyer.
Well,
Some team is going to.
yeah, some team, the Raiders or
No,
Hopefully
someone
the
who
Raiders,
needs a
but-
quarterback.
some team that usually
Right.
takes a lot of these losers.
Uh-huh. I could see like Houston doing it, maybe. Just because we need a quarterback. I could see. I would honestly not be surprised if Dallas does it, just because Jerry Jones is enamored with him for some odd reason.
The other part is a lot of teams, when they see this, okay, he wants to party. We don't want that on our team. A lot
Right.
of teams are not going to do it just
Right.
because of that.
I know.
I can't remember some of the names, but I know like someone that was in college and he sued the colleges or something for some reason. Or if it sued the NFL because he wanted to come in the NFL before his third year. And okay, sure, you win. Okay, no team wanted him. You're a troublemaker. So if I'm a GM, I don't want Manziel.
No.
I want a Peyton Manning. I want a Tom Brady. I want a Cam Newton. I want someone who, hey, Cam, we're going to be meeting tomorrow at 10. He's there at 8 o'clock watching film.
Here's one thing, though, about Manziel. One last quick thing.
Okay.
I would be surprised, but I'd also be not surprised if a team like Denver, maybe New England, just takes a weird little flyer on him in like you stick with Peyton Manning for this whole season. Do everything he tells you. If you do anything that he doesn't tell you to do, you are off the team immediately. You stick with Peyton. You do what Peyton does. You do what he tells you to do. I could see something like that, or like New England, though I don't think Belichick's going to do that. But like New England could maybe try that and do that same thing. But with you stick with Brady and you do everything Brady does and everything he tells you, you do anything else, you are out of the team immediately.
You might be able to see that. I don't see John Elway doing it. I don't see Belichick doing that. No.
I don't see them doing it, but
no.
I think that
Elway won't do that.
But I don't see them doing that. But I think just for like Manziel, that would be the best situation for him to be put in. Would be like that.
But yeah,
I don't see them doing it, but that would be like the best situation for him.
For him, probably.
Especially if he would actually do it then, too.
If he would actually do it.
But if he's just like, no, I'm in Denver, pot's legal, I'm going to go buy 3 pounds of marijuana.
Yeah.
Like, okay, great, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, man,
you're out.
If he's not out of the league, he won't be.
No. Very quickly, very, very quickly at this point, awards.
Okay.
You want to start at the big or the little ones?
Either one.
All right, let's go little first.
Okay.
So now these are what I call the Madden Awards,
okay,
because I know these are given out in the Madden NFL games.
Okay.
They give these out at the end of each season in the career mode. Each conference gives out like best quarterback, receiver, running back, whatnot awards. So we're going to do that. We're going to start, instead of doing entirely positional, we just did best defense in general for
Okay.
each conference.
Okay.
So AFC best defense.
Okay.
I had to go with Denver.
I'm going with Denver and just a notch above Kansas City, yes.
Yeah. Now, NFC best defense, I had to get to Carolina.
I'm going to give it to Seattle. Just
I
a
mean, it
little
was
bit
between those two.
above Carolina.
It was like, I mean, in reality, they would probably be tied. But
Yes.
since I can't technically do a tie, I had to go Carolina just out of a 15-1 against 10-6.
I'd probably give it to Carolina too.
Carolina
but
won head-to-head. So, okay. Best tight end award.
Okay.
NFC, there was really only one option, if you ask me.
Yes.
Greg Olson.
Okay. He wins it.
Yeah, I mean,
Hands down.
outside of that, it was like, what, Ben Watson? Am I going to give Ben Watson an award? No.
Okay.
Jimmy Graham? No way.
No.
AFC, there's a couple more choices, but there's
Couple
really
more
only
choices,
one,
but
like,
only one.
real choice.
Correct.
You got to go Gronk.
You
I
gotta
mean,
go
you got
Gronk.
to.
Got to, yeah.
The best receiver award.
So Barnage was a close second.
Okay.
Well, far second, but
Okay. Sure.
but I had to give Barnage another nod there. Okay.
Best receiver.
Best receiver.
For me, this was somewhat easy for this year. I
Okay.
could definitely see in like 3 years this being a real
Okay.
tough one.
Okay.
But for right now, NFC best receiver, I had to go Julio.
You went Julio.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he is insane.
He is insane. He's crazy.
Uh-huh.
He's the only receiver. Well, he wasn't even the only receiver for Atlanta, but
Well, I mean, I
amazing.
know they like Leonard Hankerson was doing things.
I mean,
It
they
was
can
weird.
double and triple team Jones, and he still gets the ball.
Uh-huh.
And Ryan still tries to throw it to him.
Mm-hmm.
So Jones in the NFC, yes,
That's who you went with?
sure. With Larry, I actually put Larry Fitzgerald in a close second.
Okay. Okay. It's like in a normal year, it's like Healthy Dez is a big competitor.
Oh yeah,
Healthy Dez, Prime Galvin Johnson would have
Oh,
been a huge competitor,
oh,
but
yeah.
in a couple of years, Prime Odell is going to be ridiculous too.
More than likely.
Anyway, AFC best receiver.
Okay,
For me, there was really just one clear option just because I didn't really feel like giving it to a rookie.
okay.
Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown, Steelers. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, am I really going to give it to Amari Cooper? No, I'm not.
Not
I'm
yet.
sorry. Couple of years, maybe we'll see.
No, I had to give it. to
Maybe
Brown.
Ty, definitely not for this year.
Not this year.
We'll see in the future. Now, the best running back award.
Okay.
This was the weirder one in the AFC, at least. Now, NFC, there was really only two options.
NFC.
In the
Okay.
NFC, it was basically, do you want to go AP or you want to go Doug Martin?
Okay.
I had to go AP.
I went AP
Just,
also.
you know,
Adrian Peterson.
rushing champ, whatnot. So, and the AFC, this was the weirder one because, like, I was looking at the stats, and because I'm, you know, somewhat lazy, I just went, okay, rushing yardage, okay, total yardage.
Okay.
This was the weird one because it's like, let's see, the leaderboard. It's like, okay, the one I went with, then it was like Frank Gore's next. Am I going to give it to him? Not from what I saw, which was every single game. Am I going to give it to D'Angelo Williams, who didn't really play for like 4 games? I know.
Okay.
So I had to go Latavius Murray,
Okay.
which feels weird, but I kind of had to.
Well, I went with the dude that missed 4 games.
You went with
I went
D'Angelo.
with D'Angelo Williams.
Okay. I was just like, you know, if it weren't those 4 games where he did nothing, then absolutely. But those 4 games of him basically doing nothing, I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
And that to me is a problem with the Steelers. If, okay, you have Bell in. If Williams is so good when Bell's not in, why can't you use him a little bit when Bell's there? then you've got one heck of a, oh my gosh.
Because basically Bell does the same things Williams does, just faster, and he can also catch the ball well.
Yeah, but if you have them both behind Roethlisberger, what's the defense like? Who's going to get the ball? We don't know if it's going to Williams. Is he going to throw it to Brown or Bryant?
True.
No.
They might. I would not be surprised if they try to do that a little more next year.
I would
too.
say
Try that next year. It could be that could be devastating.
I think the Steelers missed it a lot when
Yes.
just by using Bell only.
Now,
Okay,
best quarterback.
best quarterback.
Now, my rule for this was
Okay,
my best quarterback for each conference
okay,
has to have not already won a different award
okay.
for me. So these are not my MVP choice, not my Offensive Player of the Year if that happened to be a quarterback, not my Rookie of the Year if that also somehow happened to be a quarterback, and
Okay.
also the best quarterback too.
Okay,
So these are the basically second or third
could be the third.
quarterback maybe in the conference. But anyway, in the NFC, my NFC Best Quarterback Award, I had to go Russell Wilson just for the non-MVP part of it. To satisfy that, I had to go Russell Wilson.
Okay,
And also, he's really, really good.
he is good,
Uh-huh.
but since he's either won my MVP or Offensive Player of the Year for the NFC,
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know. Uh-huh.
I had to go a little further,
Uh-huh.
and I went with Carson Palmer
Oh, okay.
of Arizona.
Okay. Okay.
Though he is not the best quarterback,
Right.
but because of the rules,
Mm-hmm.
he wins in the
NFC Best Quarterback.
NFC. Yes.
AFC Best Quarterback.
Okay.
And this may be a slightly biased pick,
Okay.
but I had to go Phillip Rivers.
It's going to be Phillip Rivers,
Mm-hmm.
and that's because someone else wins Offensive Player of the Year
Or MVP.
or MVP. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, because the quarterbacks in the AFC this year,
Mhm.
sorry, Peyton Manning off year,
Mm-hmm.
obviously Andrew Luck injured,
Mm-hmm.
Roethlisberger injured, Flacco injured. The AFC quarterback race,
Uh-huh. It was like, let's see, am I really going to give this to Alex Smith?
yeah, it was. I mean, it comes down
Uh-huh.
to two people basically
Uh-huh.
for me. And since one wins the Offensive Player of the Year or MVP,
Mm-hmm.
I had to go with Phillip Rivers
Oh, okay.
because he had
Yeah.
and he played 16
Uh-huh.
games.
Uh-huh.
He had an offensive, stats and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
the team only won 4 games. But I couldn't see going with Fitzgerald. Couldn't see going
Fitzpatrick?
with Fitzpatrick. Couldn't see going with Tyrod Taylor
Or Alex Smith.
or Alex Smith or, Hoyer.
Mm-hmm.
Or, it was like, Hoyer? Come on, no way. They're going to replace him, so
No.
he wasn't that good.
Okay, though, if he stayed healthy all year, Andy Dalton,
Andy
yes or
Dalton,
no?
he would have won it.
Yeah. If he
He
was
would've.
healthy all year.
But since he missed the last 4 or 5 games, that
Mhm.
really hurt him.
Right.
But he was definitely,
Yeah.
yes, he was ahead of Phillip Rivers until then.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Offensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
Mine is a quarterback, as most of the time this award ends up being.
NFC.
NFC.
Oh, you're going to do AFC? Okay. You're just
These
doing
aren't
one?
conference, yeah.
Oh, I did it by conference.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't have that prepared.
Oh, okay.
I just have in general, because these are the actual official league awards, which is 1 in total.
Okay.
So, Offensive Player of the Year, you can give both years, but I only have
Okay.
1.
Okay.
It's Tom Brady for me.
Tom Brady.
Yes.
The NFC, I did with Russell Wilson.
Okay.
AFC, I did Tom Brady.
Okay. Now, Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year.
For me, this was between two people
Yeah.
and two people only.
Okay.
Jameis Winston and Amari Cooper
Okay.
were my two. This is between.
Alrighty.
Now, I went with Amari.
Oh, okay.
I went with Amari Cooper. Just from the whole, like, Winston didn't look very good the first, 3 weeks. And Cooper didn't really have that. Like, he looked pretty good mostly all year.
Okay.
Except, the last week where he was injured, basically.
Yes.
So, I kind of had to go with him for that one.
Okay. Mine came down to more people than that. But
Well, now if we had to do conference here, NFC is obviously Gurley.
okay.
Would have been NFC rookie for me
Okay.
if we did conference. But
Um,
I kind of had to take away the whole he didn't play 4 games thing from
Yeah.
him too.
I had Mariota up there at the top until his injury
Yeah,
because he looks really good.
I
when he
know.
plays.
But then he's injured.
Yeah,
He
he's
missed
injured.
4 games or so.
I had Gurley up there,
Uh-huh.
but he missed a few games.
Uh-huh.
I had David Johnson,
Okay.
but
Mm-hmm.
he didn't quite make it. Mine was Winston
Okay.
because he does look, he's going to be a
Yeah.
quarterback for 15 years.
Yeah.
So I picked Winston,
Mm-hmm.
who may lead Tampa Bay back to the Super Bowl one day.
May. Defensive player of the year.
Okay.
This is pretty easy.
Okay.
I kind of had to go with J.J. Watt just because
J.J. Watt, yes.
it's like, I mean, what? Maybe Aaron Donald? Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, there were lots of picks again,
Yeah.
but defense, I really have a hard time with defense. And it's like, if you're Sherman,
Uh-huh.
well, it's hard to do stats because they don't throw towards him.
Uh-huh.
So it's hard to really say, man, you really, because,
Well, it's like the same thing with Darrelle Revis and the
you know,
peak Darrelle Revis. It's
Right.
you don't throw at him because
you don't throw
you're not
it
going to
him.
complete it anyway, more than likely.
So,
Why even bother when it's probably not
Right.
going to do any good?
I went with Watt because it's,
Mhm.
but there were lots of players that could win this,
Yes. Now,
honestly.
coach of the year.
Okay, coach of the year.
This was a little bit of a little debate with myself.
Okay.
But eventually it was like, no, obviously the winner is Ron Rivera.
Yes.
Now I was like having this little, should I go Bruce Arians or not? It was really either one of those two.
Yes.
I was like, Marvin Lewis, sorry, I love you, but no.
No.
So it was, let's see, Rivera or Arians. Let's see. We expected Arizona to be okay and Carolina
Right.
to be basically not any good, and
Right.
they went 15-1. Okay, Rivera, here you go.
Well, I had a little different.
Which actually,
Second
side
place.
note, that's how Budenholzer won NBA Coach of the Year last year. Side note. Anyway.
So I went with Rivera too at
Mhm.
number 1,
Okay.
but he did not beat out Arians for
Uh-huh.
me because I don't think this guy gets enough respect in these kind of votes.
If you say Jay Gruden.
No, I'm
Okay.
going, and you know how much this kills me to say that.
Belichick.
Belichick was second.
Here's the thing with Belichick. He rarely wins it just because, in the NBA, he's like Pop. It's like, okay, he's obviously, yes, the best coach, basically.
Yes.
But it gets redundant if every year, Coach of the Year, Belichick. 10 years later, well, for the 11th straight year, Bill Belichick is Coach of the Year. It gets redundant.
It
so
does.
it's like,
And I
obviously,
don't do this with Belichick.
I know. It's like, obviously, yes, he's the best coach, but
But for me, the number of injuries they had this year,
I know it. Yeah.
all that put together,
Mhm.
and still 12-4.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll give him a little nod.
Uh-huh. It's the same thing like with Pop in the NBA. It's
Yes.
yeah, obviously he is the best coach in the league, but it's very, very redundant if we just give him the award every year. It's very redundant, and so there's not much point to doing that.
But if in the NBA, if Pop lost Aldridge, Duncan, if he lost his top 4 dudes and he still was 39-4 or whatever, I might consider him.
Right.
But since they're all healthy, I'm not going to consider him this year, right now, per se. But Belichick, with all the injuries, he's pulled a rabbit out of his hat to be 12-4.
Another quick NBA side note then. By that logic, should we not give Steve Kerr, Luke Walton, whatever, the Golden State coach, should we not give them an award then, since basically the whole roster's been healthy more or less? Then by that logic, should we basically do that too?
If they were 35-5, 30-10, no. But 39-2 or something. And they've lost Curry for a couple games. They've lost Green now for a couple games, maybe.
Well, that's just rest, though. So anyway, that'll be a different podcast. Anyway, MVP.
Yes.
Is there any way that it's not Cam Newton?
I can't see that it would be.
I mean, you could maybe make the Brady argument.
If anyone else, I'd have to give it to Brady. I gave it to Cam Newton.
I know, I did too, but it's one of those two. I mean, there's really, you can't talk me into any others.
No, Cam Newton by far 15-1.
Yeah.
Carolina has scored the most points in the league this year. I can't give you an argument for anyone other than Cam Newton.
I know. I guess by the injury, everything logic.
But no one else.
Now, insanely fast.
Okay.
Playoff picks.
Okay.
And we missed the wild card round.
Yes, which we had both picked all visiting teams anyway.
Well.
And they all won.
Well. I technically picked Washington to win.
Oh, you picked Washington.
Okay. I did.
Okay.
But since now we have the knowledge that, it was Green Bay that wins, I have adjusted my divisional picks accordingly.
Okay.
Okay. So, not that the actual pick changed.
All right. So
let's start AFC.
Okay.
With the 1-6 Denver Pitt.
Okay. Pittsburgh at Denver.
Yes. I went with Denver.
Okay.
Just because Roethlisberger probably isn't playing. Roethlisberger probably is not. He tore his shoulder.
Right.
More or less. He can technically play, but he can't throw the ball deep.
Right. Brown
he can't throw it. Right. He can't throw it more than like 10 yards.
So I'm going with Denver.
Right. Then the New England KC game was kind of almost a coin flip for me.
Okay.
Because this Kansas City team is the type of team that gives New England trouble.
Okay, yes.
Just the team that can hit Brady a lot. And they can hit Brady a whole lot.
Their defense is really good.
They have a good secondary, too. And if Edelman's not healthy yet, which he's supposed to play, apparently. But if he's not, 100%, and everything. Sure, Gronk is great, but can you beat a very solid defense with nothing but throwing to Gronk over the middle, basically? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, but this KC team's the type of team that gives New England trouble normally.
Yes. And you went with?
I went with New England anyway.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Kansas City actually wins. I wouldn't be surprised.
For me, looking in the past, New England with 2 weeks to prepare.
Yeah, they don't lose at home in the playoffs.
Very rarely
anyway.
Loses. You give Belichick 2 weeks to study for Reed and the Chiefs. It's going to be very hard for Kansas City to win.
I know, but
now Kansas City could win. Of course, I would love them to win.
Sure.
Brady, I know in the last game he played, he got hurt. So if Kansas City pounds him, he may go down again.
Yeah, which that would murder him instantly. It'd kill the Patriots.
Unfortunately, Andy Reid is a good coach, but in the playoffs, his record is not very good.
No, he's good until it comes to having to manage the clock. Then it's, oh, boy. Oh, boy.
I really hate teams that, they're in the playoff. They got an 11-game winning streak going.
Mm-hmm.
They did. They took care of Houston rather easily.
Yeah.
Kansas City could beat New England, but I have to go with New England.
Yeah. NFC. So the 2-seed game here. Arizona, Green Bay.
Arizona.
This was simple.
Green Bay.
I watched, kind of semi-watched the last game. Arizona. No question. I don't see Green Bay having any shot. I don't. Unless Aaron Rodgers just gets insanely hot and starts flinging 60-yard touchdown bombs left and right, I don't see him having any shot in this game.
Well, the way Green Bay played against Washington.
That was Washington, though.
They're in playoff mode.
Yeah.
Which is a different Green Bay. It was against Washington, who does not have the defense Arizona has.
But though that Washington game, it took them till the second half to get going, though.
Yes. I had to go with Arizona because most of the year, most games, they looked pretty dominating.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Bruce Arians, his playoff record's not too good either. So we'll see. In Arizona, anyway, his playoff record's not been stellar.
What, 0-1? Is it 0-1 with a third-string quarterback?
Third-string quarterback.
In Carolina. I don't really think that should count, but it does.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that should really count. I know it does, but it really shouldn't.
If Palmer can play the whole game,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give it to Arizona, but I would not be surprised if Green Bay wins.
Okay.
So,
now, the other game.
These 4 teams in the NFC.
Yeah.
It's a hard road for any of these 4 teams.
Uh-huh.
This is going to be a tough road to the Super Bowl for them.
Now, this next game.
This is almost a Super Bowl here.
Yeah. Now, I went with Seattle.
Okay.
Just because Russell Wilson is insanely hot right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he knows how to lose right now. And that is legitimately terrifying.
Okay.
An offense that is rolling on all cylinders and Seattle's defense, that is, I don't know how you put up more than 15 and hold their offense to like 12. I don't know how you do that. But you're going to have to do it.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with...
And if any team could do it, it'd be Carolina.
Last week we had all 4 visiting teams win.
Right.
Which in my mind, all those visiting teams were better than the home teams anyway, except if Cincinnati had Dalton,
right.
I think that would have been a different story.
Well, they really should have won anyway, but...
Yes. But since Seattle really should have lost to Minnesota, sorry, but they should have.
Uh-huh.
I know the weather had a lot to do with it.
Uh-huh.
I'm going with Carolina.
Okay.
At home, they had Carolina's defense. Unfortunately, boy, when you're 15-1, you're the number 1 seed. You don't expect to have to play
Seattle,
this kind of a team in your first game.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
This really, but this, hey, if Carolina wants to get to the Super Bowl, this will prove to people they're good.
Yeah.
And as I see, Carolina had the biggest differential in turnovers. They were plus 20. They had the most takeaways in the league, the most points scored. Now, yeah, Seattle had the least points allowed, so this is going to be kind of interesting.
Uh-huh.
Okay, a team with the most points against a team with the least points allowed.
Which, the most famous, I can remember that matchup, the Denver-Seattle Super Bowl, that Seattle just throttled
them. But I'm going with Carolina because I'm kind of tired of Seattle in there. So
Okay.
And Carolina, I think, is a little overrated at 15-1. But
Okay. Now,
let's give Cam Newton, he was MVP.
mhm,
Let's give him a chance.
a championship round.
Okay.
So yours is a little different than mine.
Yeah, mine's all the home teams winning this week, which will probably not happen.
Right. Mine is 3 home in Seattle.
And Seattle, okay?
So my title game, so we have New England at Denver.
New England at Denver.
And I went with New England.
Okay. So
I
New
did.
England, another Super Bowl.
Yes. So then the other title game is Seattle at Arizona.
For you, yes.
Yes. Now, until about an hour before we started this, I had Seattle winning.
Okay.
So that would have given us a second straight New England-Seattle Super Bowl.
Okay.
But I changed my pick and I decided to go with Arizona.
Okay.
Just because I thought, okay, the Week 17 game, Arizona had basically nothing to play for.
Correct.
So they weren't trying.
Correct.
When they were trying and it was in Seattle, Arizona seemingly throttled Seattle more or less. I know the score doesn't look like it, but they kind of did.
Uh-huh.
And then, like, they stopped trying and Seattle got back in it.
Yes.
So I think, Arizona at home, a title game, the conference title game,
Yes.
that crowd is going to be insane in that
Correct.
building.
Correct. Should be.
And then against a division opponent, too. That's going to get the fans even more thrilled
Yes.
about it.
Correct.
So I'm like, when Arizona tried, they basically demolished Seattle.
Yes.
So,
I'm going with that.
yeah, I didn't see why they couldn't do it again. So I had to go Arizona to give us a New England-Arizona Super Bowl.
Okay. Okay. So both number 2 seeds.
Yes.
I'm going the complete opposite. I'm going with both number 1 seeds.
A Seattle-Denver again.
No.
Oh,
Denver and Carolina.
right. Seattle, geez.
Seattle is not the number 1 seed this year.
No, they're the 6th seed. I totally know what I'm doing.
Denver and Carolina. The reason I'm going to just... Okay, I'm kind of tired of seeing New England in the Super Bowls.
Okay.
I know they can make it. Tom Brady, I mean, it's hard to bet against him. I just hope Peyton Manning can play a good game in that second, hopefully in this first game against Pittsburgh, and then against New England. And I went with Carolina because you had Carolina losing, but
Well, hold on, though. Here's the thing, though, for Denver, right?
yes,
In this Pittsburgh game, if there's no Roethlisberger and no Antonio Brown,
yes,
do you even risk sending Peyton Manning out there?
yes.
Do you even risk him injuring himself or
Yes.
throwing 8 picks or something, or do you just go Osweiler the whole game?
I go with Manning. He's had 2 weeks rest. He's barely played the last half of the year.
Okay.
Get him a little, get him out there in game play. I mean, if it's over at halftime, then take him out, yes.
Uh-huh.
But if he's doing terrible in the first half, take him out.
Okay.
Okay, but yes, I go with Peyton Manning.
Okay.
I have to go with him.
Okay.
And then against New England, yes.
Well, yeah, obviously that one, but
Carolina, the reason I went with Carolina over Arizona
uh-huh.
is Arizona's a good team.
Right.
But the fact of them going to the East Coast to Carolina to play
Mm-hmm.
usually has not been a good sign for Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the best East Coast playing team. So that's basically why I went with Carolina.
Okay.
And I know both number 1 seeds in the Super Bowl is rare, but let's go with it.
Okay. So you have Denver, Carolina.
I have Denver, Carolina.
I have a New England, Arizona Super Bowl.
New England, Arizona.
I went with New England
You went with New England.
Even though, just like Kansas City, Arizona's the type of team that usually gives New England trouble, especially this year. The strong pass rush, being able to hit Brady a lot with a good secondary, that's what can usually stop New England.
Okay.
But the thing is, New England, I don't think if they get to another Super Bowl, whether it be this year, next year, whenever, right?
They're not losing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brady's going to do everything. Like, I want that 5th ring.
Yes.
I want that 6th ring.
Of
I
course.
want them.
I'm going with a little upset, I think. I'm going with Denver
Denver, jeez.
over Carolina.
So Peyton can ride off in the sunset with his 2nd Super Bowl in 4 tries.
Yes. And give him his 2nd. So that is kind of a sentimental pick.
He can ride off into the sunset and into his HGH scandal.
Yes. With both very good defenses, it could be a low-scoring game, but it'll probably be more like 24 to 21 or something.
You see, here's the problem that I see in that. Denver, Carolina, the last time Peyton had to play a dominant defense in the Super Bowl,
Yes.
you remember what happened. It was not
Yes.
pretty.
Yes.
So, anyway, thank you for listening to our, what we anticipated being about an hour, but turned into a 2.5 hour NFL regular season recap / playoff pick preview junk thing. So, thank you for listening. And until in about a couple weeks when we do our NBA 3-month recap. Goodbye.